He went berserk several times, but didn't drop anything good. He went berserk several times, but didn't drop anything good. It was even starting to make Long Fei doubt his own life. It felt as if berserk had been crippled. Actually, berserk energy was also a unique feature. It was not something that could be dropped every time. He had used it frequently, so the items that dropped would definitely not be good. And then there was the boss. If it was a boss, then the items dropped would be good. During this period of time, the demon beast that the giant golden ape killed were all normal demon beast, and there were very few high-level demon beast, let alone a boss. There are still 7 days. Long Fei slowly exhaled a breath of air. Looking at Mu Yun who was walking towards him, Long Fei was a little anxious in his heart. He was the one who allowed Mu Yun to walk on this path. Now, he couldn't even protect his brother's life. This caused him to feel very uncomfortable in his heart. Mu Yun walked in front of Long Fei, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said excitedly, "Boss, I've broken through again, and am already at the 2nd level of the Divine Moon Realm, ha ha ha." He was happy and excited. Every upgrade gave him a different experience. Very good. It was so refreshing to see his strength increase explosively. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Impressive." Mu Yun said, "Boss, it's about time, we have to go back." Long Fei said, "The golden fur still hasn't finished searching God-living mountain, wait another day. Have you forgotten about what you promised senior brother Changfeng? 3 days have already passed and there are only 2 days left before you give him fairy beast spirit blood. He is still waiting to save his friend, you can't go back on your promise." Mu Yun knew that Long Fei did it for him. Staying for another day, he wanted to search for fairy beastess. However, so many days had passed. Does God-living mountain have any other fairy beast besides the golden fur? If there was, Blondie would have discovered it long ago. Thus, Mu Yun was very clear in his heart that he might only have a few days left of his life, but he did not feel the slightest bit of resentment towards Long Fei. He thanked Long Fei. "Thank you, Long Fei." It was Long Fei that made him feel that he was constantly breaking through and becoming stronger. To someone who desired to become stronger, this was like a gift from heaven. Long Fei said, "There's no rush, when the time comes." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, Mu Yun said, "Boss, I want to participate in the South Area's assessment. The examination is going to begin in 2 days. If he still had 7 days of life left, then the thing he wanted to do the most was to pass the examination to become a South Area, gain honor for himself, and gain justice for his family. At the same time, he wanted Mu Yarrow to give him a serious look. That was his wish before he died." Long Fei could tell from his eyes that he had already made his decision, and said, "All right, let's go back." He knew that Mu Yun still couldn't let Mu Yarrow go. Immediately, Long Fei moved, "Golden hair, come over." Half a minute later, rumble, rumble, rumble. A series of tremors was like a super earthquake. Suddenly, a huge shadow descended from the sky, heavily landing beside Long Fei, holding onto a few rare spirit grass. The spirit grass passed it to Long Fei, and the golden-furred giant ape asked, "Boss, what's the matter?" Long Fei said straightforwardly, "I want some spirit blood in your body." The golden-furred giant ape said, "You want me, spirit blood?" "Sure." While they were talking, the golden-furred giant ape took out a wine jar from nowhere. A cut appeared on its palm and its forehead tightened as it controlled the idea. And then, the pure spirit blood continued to surge out and flow into the jar. Spirit blood was like a spring as the jar was filled to the brim in a few seconds. The golden-furred giant ape didn't even bat an eyelid as it asked, "Boss, do we still need more?" Long Fei was stupefied. Initially, he had intended to take out a bottle to fill it up. However, to think that he would be able to fill it up in the blink of an eye. Too terrifying. Long Fei said again, "Enough." The golden-furred giant ape grinned and said, "If it's not enough, then tell me. I don't have much else, except thick skin and a lot of blood." Long Fei kept the jar and even cast a rune to prevent the energy in spirit blood from disappearing. He said, "About the fairy beast." The golden-furred giant ape shook its head. "I haven't found it yet." He looked at Mu Yun and said, Don't worry, boss matter is my problem. I will definitely find a fairy beast for you. Mu Yun laughed openly and said, thank you. Long Fei said, alright, I want to go first to Mu Clan. You should continue searching for fairy beastess in the mountains, even if you have to turn God Living Mountain upside down to find them. All the demon beast must be killed, not even a mosquito should be spared. Although Golden Fur did not know why Long Fei wanted him to kill demon beast, he still nodded, understood. Go. Long Fei waved his hand. The giant, golden-furred ape immediately jumped out. There were a few thunderous explosions in the distance. This was his playground, where he could play however he wanted. However, the golden-furred giant ape was different from normal fairy beast. Its intelligence was extremely high and it knew how to read humans' minds. He was very clear that other than him, the God-Living Mountain did not have any other fairy beast. However, he did not say it because he did not want to disappoint Long Fei and cause him to lose all hope. Then again, he was Long Fei's war pet, he had to protect his master well. If something happened to Long Fei, he wouldn't be able to sense the dragon's squamous boundary and he wouldn't be able to live for long. Thus, the distance between him and Long Fei was maintained at a distance of half a minute and they would arrive at it soon. It seemed like he had run far away, but in reality, he was still within a certain range. Long Fei and Mu Yun rushed back to the eastern district of Mu Clan. At this moment, Mu Clan, Mu Changsheng returned to the northern region. Strangely, he did not complain to Mu Hatai. Instead, he went back to his residence and closed his eyes. This was completely different from his domineering personality. After taking Mu Xingyun's disciple's loss, do you still not want to get it back? He didn't even mention it. It was a little unusual. Mu Yuting went to visit her, and was rejected. You said that Undead Lord, one of the 3 great sky sovereigns of the Xians, would come to the God-Living Mountain? You want to destroy Mu Clan? Mu Hertai was slightly taken aback. His eyes were somewhat cold and disdainful. Although he did not express it, he felt extremely disdainful in his heart, to the point where he felt that Mu Changfeng was a little funny. What kind of existence was the Xian's? Emperor Xian had not yet become the god of boundary, but there was no doubt that he was the overlord of the divine space. The Undead Lord was an old monster who had followed the Emperor Xian since the ancient times and survived until now. Even if they were to fight against the ancient family or the top 10 clans, they would not send out their Empyreans to fight, because there was no need at all. The Heavenly Sovereign's cultivation realm was already at the peak of the divine space. They were now aiming for a breakthrough instead of annexing their clans and expanding their territory. Xians could not send out Undead Lord. Thus, in his heart, Mu Hatai didn't believe that the Undead Lord would come to destroy his Mu clan. Mu Changfeng said, Senior Master, I know it is hard to convince others, but please believe me, the Undead Lord is really coming, we have to be prepared. Before Master went into closed-door cultivation, he had said that if the powerhouse encountered any danger, he could hide in Turtle Mountain. Mu Hertai's eyes were filled with anger. Do you want us to be cowards? Turtle Mountain was a forbidden topic in the Mu clan. Turtle Mountain was a forbidden topic in the Mu clan. It was a special space. If they could go in to hide, even Powerhouse would not be able to find them, nor would they be able to go in. The entire clan could survive in safety. This kind of safe place made Mu clan unable to raise his head because last time they entered Turtle Mountain, their entire clan had almost been exterminated. Because of a woman. This woman is called Mu Wana. It was also a chase from the Xians. It was because of this woman that the Mu clan suffered such heavy casualties. At that time, 2 voices came out from the Mu clan, one was to give up on Mu Wana, and the other was to protect her. Mu Hertai was precisely opposing Mu Wana entering the Turtle Mountain faction. However, at that time, he did not have any authority, nor did he have any authority to speak. When Mu Wana entered the Turtle Mountain, the Xian's army also took the opportunity to enter. If not for the divine power left behind by the Master, which drove the army of Xians out, the divine space would probably no longer have a Mu clan. It was also because of this matter that Mu Qianha's position in the Mu clan slowly decreased, and Mu Hertai also gradually became stronger. Because his cultivation and mastery of spatial energy was not as good as Mu Tianhe's, he could only manage to reach the highest elder's level after such a long time. It was because Mu Tianhe was injured that he was unable to ascend to the throne. However, now that he heard about Turtle Mountain, he immediately exploded. Mu Changfeng said, "Senior Master, this is what Master instructed me before I went into closed-door cultivation. You agreed to it, you can't go back on your word, right?" Mu Hertai's eyes tensed up, he stared at Mu Changfeng and asked, "What did you call me?" Mu Changfeng replied, "Martial Uncle." Mu Hertai coldly snorted, and said, "Since you still call me Junior Master, then I am your senior. Were you doubting me just now?" He directly suppressed Mu Changfeng with his seniority. Mu Changfeng's face tensed up, and immediately said, "Disciple does not dare." "Very good, since you know you don't dare, then in the future, just say whatever you want to say. If you don't want to say it, then clear it up for me." Mu Hertai said. Mu Changfeng said, "Undead Lord coming is a huge matter, Mu Hertai said, "All right, I already know what you're talking about, I will investigate everything thoroughly. If Undead Lord really wants to come here to eliminate Mu clan, I will keep my promise and bring everyone into Turtle Mountain." Mu Changfeng said, "Martial Uncle, then should we prepare in advance?" Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Mu Hertai interrupted once again, "Do I need your guidance for anything?" Mu Changfeng replied, "Disciple does not dare." Mu Hertai said, "All right, you can go now." Mu Changfeng cupped his fists and bowed slightly as he left the courtyard. He had done his best. However, let alone Mu Hertai, even he himself did not believe that the Undead Lord would come to the God-living mountain. Not only was he humiliated, he even felt displeased with the other party. Similarly, Mu Hertai was also extremely unhappy. He felt that Mu Changfeng was causing trouble for no reason. No. To be exact, it should be Mu Tianhe. No matter what status Mu Changfeng had, he would not dare to joke about such a thing. It was very clear that the one behind this was Mu Tianhe. He did not think about the reason behind Mu Tianhe's actions. He was only certain in his heart that it was Mu Tianhe who had done this, in order to embarrass him. The Undead Lord has already been brought out. Why not say that the 3 sky sovereigns of the Xians are here? Big brother, oh big brother, you are already in seclusion, why don't you stop for a while? Can't you see me as the head of the family? Sure. If you make me unhappy, I will make you unhappy too. Mu Hertai looked at Mu Changfeng's disappearing figure, he secretly clenched his fists, his eyes suddenly brimming with a gloomy killing intent. If one wasn't ruthless, one wouldn't be able to stand steadily. If his heart did not kill, it would not be sent out. Mu Hertai felt that if the Mu clan was to be completely controlled by him, then he would have to get rid of all those who were related to Mu Tianhe. First was the 7 strong men of North Region. However, 7 strong men of North Region was publicly recognized as a genius by everyone in the Mu clan, and was also Mu Tianhe's successor. It wouldn't be that easy to kill them. Assassination was impossible. He must find a reason to not only get rid of them, but also blame it on Mu Tianhe. Mu Hertai rolled his eyes slightly as he tried to think of a way. "Great senior brother, what did that old Mu Hertai say?" Mu Yu walked up and asked. Everyone looked at Mu Changfeng, who shook his head and laughed bitterly. "What can you say? I don't believe it at all. I'm afraid he won't send people to investigate." Young Master Mu said, "Forget about him, even I wouldn't believe you." "Ah, Undead Lord, one of the 3 great Empyreans of the Xians, that old monster that has lived for countless years, why did you come to destroy our Mu clan? Even if the Xians is unhappy with us, he will not send him out. Come on." "Yeah, I think so too. However, there must be a reason behind Boss's words. I don't think Boss has any reason to lie to us, he just knows something that we don't know about. What do we do now? Mu Hertai doesn't want to send people, why don't we go check for ourselves? After all, this concerns the life and death of our Mu clan. If what Boss said is the truth, then we..." Mu Changfeng nodded his head, "You are right, this is a matter of life and death for Mu clan, for Master, and for Mu clan, we have to investigate thoroughly. Okay, 6th, 7th brother, stay at home and the others will go out to investigate." Young Master Mu immediately said, "Great senior brother, I also want to go out." Mu Changfeng said, "You guys stay here, I think it's time for boss to return from the mountain. Go to the east region now, fairy beast spirit blood's matter is very important, it's master's deadline today." Mu Ru replied softly, "Alright, I'll head there now." Mu Changfeng said, "Let's do it, we will leave as well." The 7 of them separated. The 5 of them left the North District while the other 2 went to the East District. Soon, Mu Hertai just knew that Mu Changfeng and the other 3 had left the northern region. 1.5 days later, Long Fei and Mu Yun returned to the east side. The 2 did not return to their residences to rest, but went straight to the registration office. Counting the time, today was the last day. Because they didn't change their clothes, many of the disciples on the way were looking at them with disdain as they mocked them. Do you also want to register as a service disciple? Probably to sweep the latrine pit next to the registration office? Ha ha ha. Doesn't that kid fly? It's him who offended Goddess Mu Yarrow. He even offended senior brother Mu Ling. I heard that the elders of the south area have specially recruited the Mu Ling senior brother. Senior sister Mu Yarrow seems to know how to make special admissions too, but he still has to take one. Seems like this good-for-nothing service disciple is a lucky star. Ha ha ha. Not far away, it was bustling with noise and excitement. It wasn't that there were too many people registering, but rather, there were many people who wanted to know who was participating in the exam. Long Fei and Mu Yun walked to the registration area, handed over their identity jade plates and said, "Register for assessment. Register for the assessment. Register for the assessment." It was not loud, but the surroundings suddenly quietened down. Everyone's eyes turned towards Long Fei and Yushan, they were stunned. Even the elders who had registered for the competition stared at them blankly. Servant-disciple test? For the first time. Did I hear wrong? Are these 2 people taking the exam as well? Was his brain filled with water, or was he just a pair of idiots? What did service disciples mean? A good-for-nothing with low talent, a person who basically had no hope in life. This kind of person could only be a servant in the Mu clan for his entire life. Examination? This had nothing to do with them. Poochie. Someone couldn't hold it in anymore and burst out in laughter. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Am I hearing things? You 2 service disciples also wish to take part in the examination? Some people started to laugh, and the people around them also started to laugh. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. You want to participate in the examination with trash like you? Do you think that this is an assessment or a scam? Just you. Are you all here to make fun of me? Why aren't you all taking a piss? Do you think that you're the only ones who want to take the examination? Are you qualified? Do you know what the examination is? Many people mocked him. Mu Yun clenched his fists tightly, his eyes turned sinister, his face full of anger. He was different. Ever since he had swallowed the beast blood, he could not control his temper. If he was displeased, his face would immediately change. Looking at the mocking expressions on the surrounding people, he couldn't help but want to use the 8 explosion fist to punch them. Long Fei pulled him back, looked at the registration elder again, and said, "Elder, let's register for the assessment." Very serious. The crowd laughed again. The registration elder looked at Long Fei and felt that Long Fei was playing with him. He could not help but snort coldly and said, "This is not a place where you servant disciples can play. Go back to where you belong." Long Fei said, "What is the place we should be? Can't service disciples register?" The elder didn't say anything. From afar, a familiar voice could be heard. "So it's the Pill Academy's spirit grassmaster, Mu Ling." His face was full of pride as he sneered, "The place that service disciples should stay is naturally the service courtyard, or use a broom to clean the latrine." Right. You should have stayed in the latrine. Mu Yarrow also came along with him. There were also a few other outstanding disciples of the Eastern District. All of them stared at Long Fei with ridicule. "That brat is Mu Fei? He's the one who bullied you. Sister Yarrow. This is the kid. A crappy service disciple? Junior Sister Yarrow, with just a single word from you, I will go up and cripple him right now." All of them wanted to show off in front of Mu Yarrow, just like how a peacock fights over its mating rights. Mu Yarrow's eyes were very calm, and coldly looked at Long Fei. There was no anger in his eyes. Because there was absolutely no need for it, Long Fei was safe and did not have the qualifications. She had already been selected by the South Area clan elder, so she came here to participate in the assessment only to pass a formality. A mere service disciple was destined to not belong to the same world as her. Mu Yarrow said indifferently, "We are here to register for the assessment. Why do you care about an ant in the sky? Ants are destined to be unable to fly in the sky. Ha ha ha. I only know that junior sister Mu's cultivation is outstanding, but I didn't expect Once-I to be so special too." He looked at the ant in the sky. Ha ha ha. It was used so beautifully. Mu Ling looked at Long Fei's face full of ridicule and said, "Looking at the ants in the sky, ha ha ha." The people who were accompanying them all began to laugh. Mu Yarrow did not laugh, but she did not look at Long Fei again. Mu Yun clenched his fist so tightly that it sounded like he was about to go berserk. Long Fei pulled him back. "Don't be angry, save your anger for the time of the assessment. This is the east side. If they were to fight here, then their qualifications to register would really be lost. They might even be expelled from Mu clan. No need at all. You can play slowly during the exam. Even if you don't want to die, you should at least be a half cripple." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "All the senior brother S are sky sculptures, and there are even more of them. Powerful, powerful, they are all powerful people." Mu Ling smiled proudly and replied, "Of course. A service disciple like you can only look up to us." A disciple asked, "Senior brother Mu Ling, what are sculptures? What are these eagles with so much feathers?" Mu Ling replied, "It should be a type of bird. Ferocious flying beasts, it should be." Long Fei said, Yes, senior brother is right. The furry eagles are the fierce flying beasts, the birds that specialize in attacking the chrysanthemum monster. They are really powerful. Engraving feathers." Mu Ling proudly said, "Junior brother, you have become more sensible this month." A group of people walked up. Mu Yun kept on looking at Mu Yarrow, his gaze not moving at all. His eyeballs were about to pop out, wanting nothing more than to embed itself onto Mu Yarrow's body. Seeing Mu Yarrow walk to his side, Mu Yun controlled herself with all her might, and said gently, "Senior sister." Mu Yarrow was completely indifferent, and did not even take a single glance, as if the voice just now had not come out yet. There were no servant disciples in her world. Mu Yun simply did not exist for her. Mu Yun thought that Mu Yarrow did not hear it, and his voice rose by a few notches as he said, "Senior sister, I." Mu Yarrow did not stop for a moment. She did not turn around, and like before, there were no service disciples in her world. One of the disciples sneered and said, "Idiot, why don't you judge yourself by your appearance? Do you think a service disciple would want to get along with a goddess? Who do you think you are?" Before he finished speaking, Long Fei's gaze darkened. His speed was extremely fast, and not a single person in the vicinity reacted, as he grabbed onto that disciple's collar, and lifted him into the air with one hand. In this instant, he was even more furious than Mu Yun. If his two brothers didn't have any immortal crystals to fuse with, they wouldn't have many days to live. How could they allow others to humiliate them? It happened all of a sudden. The surrounding crowd was stunned. Mu Ling looked at Long Fei and was a little unable to react. She shouted, "Mu Fei, what are you trying to do?" The disciple was also shocked. Looking at Long Fei's cold eyes, he nearly pooped out his pants as his face became deathly pale. It was very hard. "Kid, what do you want to do? You dare to make a move here? Are you looking to die? A mere service disciple dares to be so arrogant." Even the registration elder stood up and scolded Long Fei. Long Fei did not care at all. Instead, he stared at the disciple and said, "I will only say this once, apologize." The disciple's mouth trembled, wanting to resist. However, looking at Long Fei's bloodthirsty eyes, it was as though he would die the next second if he did not apologize. He immediately said, yes, I'm sorry." Long Fei said, "Not for me, but for him." The disciple looked at Mu Yun again and said, Yes, I'm sorry, I was wrong." Long Fei looked at Mu Yarrow, who did not turn his head around, and his eyes narrowed slightly as he thought in his heart, "Fuck, if I don't get you into my brother's bed, this daddy will not let you go." His hand loosened and the disciple fell to the ground. Long Fei coldly snorted, and said, "High above. Iceberg. Goddess. Hee. Today you ignored my brother, tomorrow I will make it so that you can't climb higher." Long Fei was very angry. Long Fei was very angry. However, he was unable to help Mu Yun in matters like emotions. However, Mu Yarrow looked down on Mu Yun, and tomorrow, he would let Mu Yarrow have the upper hand. Mu Yarrow did not turn back, nor did he say anything else. He still chose to ignore her because Long Fei was the same as Mu Yun, they were both service disciples. People from different worlds. There was no need to waste time on them. But just because Mu Yarrow did not speak, did it not mean that the followers beside her would let Long Fei go? Mu Ling immediately jumped out and scolded, "Mu Fei, do you know who you're talking to? Who do you think you are? What do you mean by don't care? Do you want to know your identities? You are service disciples, do you understand? You two can only help us clean the yard and manger all your lives. What do you two think you are going to do? Do you want to go to heaven? You are the only ones who want to take the examination. Didn't you see that everyone around you was laughing at you? You two are ants, we can crush you with one kick, do you understand?" Several disciples fiercely insulted him. To help Mu Yarrow vent his anger, many of the surrounding disciples also revealed looks of ridicule. Long Fei laughed coldly, "What's your identity? All right. You will know tomorrow." Finished. Long Fei pulled Mu Yun in front of the registration elder and said once more, "The registration assessment." Ha ha ha. There were still a lot of people laughing. The registration elder shouted, "If you continue to mess around, don't blame me for being impolite." Long Fei said, "The Mu clan's rules state that service disciples are not allowed to register for the assessment. Is there? If there is, please show it to me. If not, then please register our names." The registration elder was stunned by Long Fei's question. Indeed, there were no rules that prohibited service disciples from taking the exam. For a time, the elder was unable to react. At this time, Mu Yarrow said lightly, "There are no rules in the family that no service disciple can participate in the exam, but for service disciples to participate in the assessment, they must meet the following conditions. First, elders or disciples from higher-level regions must complete the A class mission, and second, they must complete both conditions." The few words that seemed to be spoken in a dull manner were like a violent thunderbolt that came crashing down. The registration elder immediately said, Right, 2 conditions, have you fulfilled them? Elder's recommendation? Which elders' guild would recommend a service disciple to take the examination? His brain was almost convulsing. In the history of the Mu clan, there had never been a servant disciple who had participated in an assessment before, and the Elders Guild had never sacrificed their own reputation to recommend a service disciple. As for the second condition, an A-grade mission was even more impossible. Even if it was an elite disciple of the South area, a mystic Moonrealm expert would find it difficult to complete the Grade A mission in the Eastern District alone. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone immediately asked, which Elders Guild is recommending them? Exactly. Servant disciples are destined not to pass the exam, whoever recommends them would be slapping themselves in the face. An A-grade mission is even more impossible. Not a single person managed to complete an A-grade mission this year, let alone the 2 service disciples. Brat, you should go home and wash up. Tomorrow, get up early and clean the latrine. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed out loud. Mu Yarrow's eyes were also filled with contempt. Mu Ling and the others were all grinning from ear to ear, but it was as if Mu Yarrow's few words had sent the 2 of them into the depths of hell. The registration elder sneered and asked, do you have any recommendations from the elders? Is there? He asked a few times. Long Fei frowned. At this moment, Mu Xingyun appeared out of nowhere, his face full of filth, his hair a mess, as if his alchemy had exploded. He laughed a few times, and said, What? Could it be that my disciple still requires the recommendation of an elder? Everyone looked at him. Many people were whispering, where did this stinky beggar come from? Why is there a beggar in Mu clan? Who is this old man? The distance between the east and west region was too far, and most people didn't know who Mu Xingyun was, but Mu Ling did. The registration elder also recognized it at a glance. He was so frightened that he almost fell down from his chair and hurriedly went forward to welcome her. Elder Xingyun, what brings you here? Mu Ling also hugged her hands, bowed, and respectfully said, Elder Xingyun. Mu Xingyun didn't even look at him. She walked forward and sat on the chair as she looked at the registration elder and coldly snorted. He's my disciple. Do you still need to recommend him? The registration elder quickly said, of course, your disciple doesn't need to recommend you. No need, no need. How could a mere elder of the Eastern District offend the great elder of the West District? Mu Xingyun snapped, then what are we waiting for? Why don't you hurry up and register your name onto the list? After he finished speaking, he looked towards Long Fei and grinned, hey. No matter how he looked at it, Long Fei liked it all. He now knew that Long Fei had ruthlessly humiliated Mu Changxing, and he also knew that the pills used to save 7 strong men of North Region were not refined by him. Then there was only one possibility, that Long Fei had refined it himself. He was hiding his strength. From the look in his eyes, Long Fei could tell that Mu Xingyun definitely knew what had happened in the mountain. It was just that. Was he not suppressed by Mu Changxing? Logically speaking, if he were to return to the Mu clan, he would definitely take revenge. Mu Xingyun was his target, but he did not act like this. The registration elder walked to the front of the table and registered Long Fei's name. At this time, Mu Yarrow said, some elders only fulfill the first condition, and the second condition is not met, so according to the clan rules, you are not allowed to participate in the exam. He spoke again. This time, not many disciples agreed, because they knew Mu Xingyun was the elder of the Western region. The registration elder hesitated. Mu Xingyun felt that he had lost face as well, but he was unable to do anything about it. Family rules were family rules, even if he was fighting in the West Region Academy, he had to follow them. With a huff, he said, Brat, come with me to the West Region. I will make you an elite disciple of the West Region. Why are you making things so troublesome? Mu Yarrow's expression was very calm as he said, Elder, it is your business who you want to bring to the West Region. However, one must meet the requirements to participate in the exam. Everyone must abide by the family rules. Mu Xingyun was so angry that she did not have a temper. Family rules outweighed everything else. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, I didn't know it in the past, but now I understand, women are truly not to be offended, but as for me, I like to offend a self-righteous woman like you. While they were talking, he took out his identity jade token and said, I have not completed the A class mission for the Eastern District. However, I have completed the A class mission for the Northern District. Elder, you can go investigate. A level mission from the north. If words could not shock people to death, they would not rest until they looked at Long Fei with their mouths agape. He didn't believe it at all. At this moment, Mu Ru and young Master Mu came out. We can bear witness to this point. The two of them have completed the level mission in the northern region. In this instant, everyone was stupefied. A level mission? A level mission? Furthermore, it was an A class mission from the northern region? How is that possible? It had been a year since anyone had completed an A-grade mission in the Eastern District. It was a fantasy for 2 service disciples to complete an A-grade mission in the Northern District. Everyone looked towards Mu Ru and young Master Mu. Other than Mu Xingyun, whose expression slightly changed, no one else recognized them. However, when Mu Ru appeared, her gaze was locked onto Mu Ruu. So beautiful. Who is this senior sister? Heavens, she is actually more beautiful than senior sister Mu Yarrow. Who is she? I haven't seen him before. Is he a new junior sister? She's really prettier than senior sister Mu Yarrow. Mu Yarrow was publicly acknowledged as the #1 beauty in the Eastern District. But the moment Mu Ru appeared, Regardless of temperament, looks, or even the aura emitted from his body, they were all lacking by half. Mu Yarrow also glanced at Mu Ru. Her expression was very calm, but she lightly clenched her fists. Mu Ling was also attracted by Mu Ru's words, but he was very clear that his enemy was Mu Fei. Moreover, these two people were very unfamiliar with each other. It was very possible that they were new disciples and didn't need to give him face. Immediately, Mu Ling sneered, "You all want to prove it. What proof do you have? What proof do you have? What are you all, anyway? With just the two of them, they probably don't even know where the northern region is, let alone the grade A mission. You're going to complete an level mission just like that? How ridiculous." Many people in the surrounding crowd agreed. That's right, do they know where the North District is? A level mission? Why don't you say that you've already completed the S-class mission? 2 service disciples can complete an A-class mission? Are you all here to make fun of me? Who are you? You can prove it. No one believed what Mu Ru said. Mu Ru didn't want to explain herself, but the corner of young Master Mu's mouth curved into a smile as he walked in front of the registration elder. At this moment, Mu Xingyun suddenly stood up, his body bowing slightly. Not many people noticed this detail. The registration elder asked, "What are you planning to do?" Young Master Mu said, "Come, look clearly at what this is." He handed over the jade token at his waist. When the registration elder saw the color of the jade token, the expression in his eyes immediately changed. He bent his body and respectfully said, "Sir." A blue jade token. They were at least elite disciples. A disciple of the Eastern District didn't have such an identity. It must be the South area. Mu Yarrow was also startled. She didn't know why Long Fei had such a relationship with an elite disciple, but after the incident with training the College of Martial Arts training, she hated Long Fei to the extreme in her heart. Thus, Mu Yarrow said, even South area would not be able to prove that they have completed an A-class mission, right? Furthermore, it's the grade A mission from the northern region. Young Master Mu did not look at Mu Yarrow, but looked at the registration elder and said indifferently, "I think it would be best for you to look at this clearly." The registration elder flipped the jade token to the other side and was stunned. He had seen a blue jade plate before, but this one was different from other blue jade plates. There was a word written on the back of it. It was a character he did not recognize, similar to a strange rune. He didn't know her. Mu Xingyun took a step forward and said, "This jade tablet is called the Heavenly Jade Plate. In the Mu clan, there are a total of 7. Each jade tablet is made by the old patriarch personally, and this represents the approval of the old patriarch, and also means that his disciple has a total of 7 jade plates in the Mu clan." As he said that, the registration elder lost his voice and said, 7 strong men of North region. The legacy disciple of the old patriarch. At this moment, he was so scared that he directly kneeled down and raised the jade token with trembling hands. Many of the surrounding disciples were still in a daze. 7 strong men of North region? What is a 7 strong men of North region? Could they be the direct disciples of the old chief? Instantly, the expressions of many people changed. Those who mocked them earlier all lowered their heads, not daring to look at them again. Young Master Mu looked at Mu Xingyun and said respectfully, "Elder Xingyun." This name made Mu Xingyun feel even more excitement. He knew that this was the glory that Long Fei brought him, and he silently thought in his heart, "This kid is doing better than me. 7 strong men of North region has come out to help." Young Master Mu took back the jade token and looked at the registration elder. "Can I prove it now?" The registration elder repeatedly nodded and said, "Yes, yes, yes." Young Master Mu laughed. "Then what are we waiting for? Why aren't you registering your name? Do you want me to register it myself?" The registration elder's lips were trembling. He immediately stood up and said, "I don't dare, I don't dare." Mu Ru also walked up to Mu Yarrow's side and said indifferently, "There are some people that you wouldn't even be able to compare to in your entire lifetime. You think that he is an ant looking up at the sky, but you don't know that what he looks up at is not the sky, but the entire wild universe, and you. You think you're high and mighty, but in his world you're nothing, you don't even exist. A few simple sentences. Mu Yarrow's mind was almost blown away, his knees were trembling, his back and palms were covered in cold sweat. This was not pressure, but rather an aura. Standing by her side, she was being crushed by this powerful aura. If the two of them were to use coercion, then she would only need to kneel on the ground. Mu Yarrow wanted to refute her. She wanted to argue. Even if the service disciple had a strong relationship with him, he was still a service disciple and was just a good-for-nothing with low talent. She wanted to say. However, after Mu Ru finished speaking, she walked in front of Long Fei and respectfully said, "Boss." Young Master Mu also walked forward. "Boss." Long Fei nodded and smiled. "Why are you here?" Young Master Mu smiled. "We've been waiting for your return the entire time." As he spoke, he placed a hand on Mu Yun's shoulder and said, "Mu Yun, you didn't inform me either, so I can go and receive you. Yo. Your cultivation has increased again. Isn't this speed too abnormal?" The two of them were like brothers. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded. Especially when Mu Ru and young Master Mu, who shouted "Boss" at Long Fei, their jaws dropped to the ground. They couldn't believe it. The service disciples of the East region were called the bosses by the 7 strong men of North region. What kind of world was this? Mu Ling wanted to argue on behalf of Mu Yarrow, but at this moment, he completely shut his mouth. Mu Yarrow was the same. He couldn't say a word. It was just as Mu Ru had said. In his world, you are nothing, you don't even exist. Not only Long Fei's world, even Mu Yun's world. Mu Yarrow felt very uncomfortable, very unhappy. Under his sleeves, he could not help but clench his fists while clenching his teeth. At this moment, Mu Yarrow was thinking about the competition tomorrow. She wanted to defeat Long Fei. She wanted to let Long Fei suffer a crushing defeat. She wanted a service disciple to disappear from her world forever. 1 month ago, she lost to Long Fei, but now, she would not lose again. She had already stepped into the divine moon realm, she believed. She firmly believed that she could defeat Long Fei. After reporting, Long Fei and the others returned to his residence. Long Fei and the others returned to his residence. Mu Xingyun stayed outside the courtyard so he did not follow him in. Mu Ru and young Master Mu's statuses were much higher than his. With them here, it would be difficult for Mu Xingyun to enter. Thus, he waited quietly outside the door. Young Master Mu walked into the courtyard and looked around before asking, "Boss, is this also a place for people to live?" "Let's go, I'll take you to the North region." Long Fei laughed and said, "It doesn't matter where I live, this place is pretty good too." Mu Ru replied, "Boss, you don't need to be like that. With your talent and attainments in alchemy, even if it's the northern region, you can still enter directly." Aside from their master, Long Fei, was the only person in the entire Mu clan that their 7 strong men of North region admired. Long Fei also smiled and said, low profile, low profile. He had always been a passerby in the Mu clan. Even though he was his grandfather's family, he had no intention of staying. He only wanted to finish off the undead lord and then leave. He wanted to find Liu Luoshi. He wanted to find Phoenix. He wanted to destroy Xian's. He also had a lot of things to do, so he couldn't stay in Mu clan for too long. Once he couldn't find a place to level up, he would leave. If not for Mu Yun, Long Fei would not even have participated in this assessment. Long Fei glanced at Mu Xingyun, who was at the door, and took out the big jar containing the seal golden-furred spirit blood. This is the fairy beast, spirit blood. When young Master Mu saw such a huge vat, he was stupefied. The two of them stared at Long Fei without moving. Mu Ru was also shocked. Young Master Mu asked, "Boss, this jar is full of fairy beastess, spirit blood?" Long Fei said, "Men, is that enough? If it's not enough, I'll think of something." "Enough, enough, enough. That's enough." Young Master Mu took the jar. He looked dead and sunken in excitement as he said, "Boss, my admiration for you is like an endless river." Mu Ru said, "Boss, are all of them fairy beast spirit blood?" She was in disbelief. Although he knew that Long Fei was very special, The 7 of them together weren't a match for the fairy beast. How could one kill fairy beast at the divine moon realm? To obtain so many spirit blood Long Fei said, "Don't worry, spirit blood inside is very pure. I was just lucky to meet an injured fairy beast and let spirit blood out. It's just that in the end, he managed to escape, or else I would have been able to obtain immortal crystals." Long Fei casually made up a few sentences, immediately changed the topic, and asked, "How is the matter that I am giving you guys?" Young Master Mu sighed. Mu Hatai doesn't believe what the great senior brother has said at all. Mu Ru replied, "Boss, you have to make those elders from the northern region believe that the undead lord will come to the Mu clan for evidence. Otherwise, the thing that Long Fei was worried about still happened." Indeed. What kind of identity does the undead lord have? Even if the Xians wanted to destroy the Mu clan, there was no need to send someone like him to battle. He was one of the 3 great Empyreans, someone who lived in the same period as the Emperor Xian. The Mu clan did not even have a need for him to go out. As for the evidence, Long Fei was unable to provide any information. He couldn't possibly say that the undead lord was here for him, right? Even if he said so, no one would believe him. Mu Ru looked at Long Fei, who was frowning deeply every day, and said, "Boss, the great senior brother and the rest went out to look for evidence. If the undead lord really came, they would have definitely discovered it beforehand." Without waiting for her to finish speaking, Long Fei's face changed as he interrupted her. "How long have Changfeng and the others been gone for?" Young Master Mu said, "The great senior brother left in the afternoon. The 5 senior brother are split into 5 groups to investigate." This is bad. Long Fei never thought that Mu Changfeng and the others would go out to look for evidence. He was 100% sure that the undead lord would come. If they went out like this, they would definitely die if they were discovered. Long Fei asked, "Can you catch up to them now?" Mu Ru replied, "The senior brother do not have a fixed location or a fixed direction. It would be difficult to catch up to them." "What's wrong?" Long Fei said, "If we meet undead lord, it will be troublesome." This time, Long Fei was very worried in his heart. Mu Changfeng's group of 5 were all grandfather's legacy disciples. If something were to happen to them, how would Long Fei be able to face grandfather? Moreover, this matter was because of him. Long Fei shook his head. "Nothing. Didn't you guys want spirit blood to save people? You guys go ahead. When we get back to the North District, you don't need to do anything, nor do you need to explain anything to the clan leader. If Zhongfeng and the rest come back, then I will have to tell them not to go out." "Oh." Young Master Mu replied. He didn't know what to say when he saw Long Fei's serious expression. They weren't nervous at all. In fact, he didn't believe that the undead lord would come to the God-living mountain either. Mu Ru did not think too much either. Fairy beast spirit blood had to be handed to Master today, so she did not linger and said, "Boss, we will be leaving first. Tomorrow's examination." Long Fei said, "Don't worry about the assessment." Young Master Mu laughed, "I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about the people who will participate in the exam with you. It's too miserable." Ha ha ha. After the 2 of them left, Mu Xingyun quickly entered the courtyard and looked at Long Fei with a face filled with excitement. No matter how one looked, he liked him and said, "Good boy, you sure hid your skills well. At the start, I thought you were a talented spirit grass master, but who would have thought that you were an alchemy master? How did you refine that kind of pill? Breaking of the soul, shattering of the qi si, severely injuring the internal organs, I can't even imagine what kind of pill could save him. That's amazing." Mu Xingyun wanted to hug Long Fei and madly kiss him a few times. Long Fei said, "Mu Changxing did not cause any trouble for you, right?" "No. Right now, he's like a rooster that's lost in a battle. After returning from the mountains, he's locked himself in the courtyard and has been causing trouble for me. You were defeated by my disciple, and now you still want to find trouble with me? Ha ha ha. It's a pity that I wasn't present then. Otherwise, I would have definitely ruthlessly humiliated him. Ha ha ha." Mu Xingyun laughed excitedly, and said, "Brat, you really didn't disappoint me. This is too relieving. I've always been suppressed by him, and now I've finally taken my revenge. Ha ha ha. However, this old thing Mu Changsheng is a sinister villain, you must be careful. Mu Xingyun was a little worried, and said, tomorrow is the examination day, I'm worried that Mu Changsheng will send people to deal with you. I don't have anything good either. Here is a spirit recovery pill. It can make you explode with several times the power in an instant without any side effects. That was why he had come today. He couldn't help Long Fei too much. After all, he was only an elder of the West region, while Mu Changsheng was an elder of the North region, an elder of the Judgment Pavilion. If they really were to go against Long Fei, Mu Xingyun would not be able to help much. Thank you. Long Fei said seriously. Ha ha ha. I still need to thank you for avenging me. Mu Xingyun laughed as he walked out of the courtyard. Only Long Fei and Mu Yun, who was sitting in a corner, remained in the courtyard. He should have felt some pain in his heart. He only wanted Mu Yarrow to look at him seriously, but today, Mu Yarrow didn't even look at him. Long Fei did not want to disturb him either. He was worried that something might have happened to Mu Changfeng, so the idea moved. Boom, 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 boom. A series of 6 dark silhouettes appeared out of thin air within the courtyard. The 6 of them were dressed in black robes and black cloaks, and wore masks. Undead ghost. All 6 of them. They were none other than the undead ghost that Long Fei had killed. After being reforged by the God's Pavilion's soul for a few days, their bodies had been reforged one after another. Furthermore, their cultivation levels were the same as before. The only difference was, they didn't have their old consciousness. They only had one consciousness. Their master was Long Fei. Long Fei looked at the 6 of them and said excitedly, God's Pavilion, you're amazing. My brother, God's Pavilion, was also very pleased and said, average. Not at all. It had to be known that this was because of the power inside Long Fei's pubes. Otherwise, it would take at least a year to recreate their bodies using the power of the holy source. It would only take a few days to use the power of Long Fei's pubes, and it would be 6 of them at the same time. In other words, in just a few days, 6 experts of the realm of Howren were reborn. Long Fei asked, can I use it now? God's Pavilion said, of course, as long as you inject the idea S, they are completely under your control. They can do whatever you want. Is there a distance limit? Long Fei asked again. God's Pavilion said, no, as long as they are still alive, they will be in your control, no matter where. But you must know one thing, after they are dead, they will not be able to reform their soul. After all, they are all formed from a single soul, so theoretically speaking, they cannot be considered human. His soul was reforming his body. Even the ancient almighty powerhouse could not do it. Long Fei replied, understood. God's Pavilion said, if you want to use it, infuse it with the idea now. Their idea S are completely under your control. All right. Long Fei didn't hesitate as the idea moved, directly pouring the idea into the 6 people's sea of consciousness through the God's Pavilion. In an instant, a gleam of light flashed in the eyes of the 6 people. They looked at Long Fei with a heavy expression and said, Master. Long Fei snickered. In his mind, he controlled the 6 idea S. Interesting. And then, Long Fei ordered, help me find Mu Changfeng's group of 5. Bring them back as soon as you find them. The 6 of them replied at the same time, as you wish. Go. Long Fei said. The 6 of them turned into 6 black shadows. They moved and instantly disappeared. Long Fei sighed, these people don't know if the experience gained from killing demon beast belongs to me. If you count it as my experience, then. Long Fei's eyes flashed, try it next time. God's Pavilion said, although the 6 of them are under your control, their daily missions will consume your energy, so right now, the energy stored within their bodies can be maintained for around 10 days or so. Huh. Why didn't you say anything at the beginning? Long Fei muttered. God's Pavilion said, you didn't ask in the beginning, and you have more pubes than others, so using it doesn't matter at all. F***ck. Just because I, the pubes, am strong does not mean I do not care. Long Fei said lightly, and didn't mind it much. Just like what the God's Pavilion had said, his pubes' power was too strong, it could not affect his energy consumption at all. According to him, There was a time limit on the person who would be reborn in God's pavilion. Once the energy was used up, they would have to recharge it. Just like charging a phone. If you run out of electricity, you have to charge it. When I thought about pubes, Long Fei secretly tightened the space between my eyebrows. If I can use the spirit moon realm to sense the glowing plane inside the pubes and draw out that power, then can I, in the limitless realm, still sense that power? In the God-living mountain, if not for the power of the pubes released by the spirit moon sect, he would already be dead. That energy is extremely powerful. It was easy to say that he had killed the Howran realm powerhouse, but until now, Long Fei had not managed to grasp that degree of power, and if he didn't use it properly, he would devour himself. Let's give it a try. Long Fei sat cross-legged, the idea moved, and directly entered the pubes. In the vast universe, Long Fei's idea was like a speck of dust, very little, only. This tiny speck of dust could think of the entire universe. Huff! Long Fei released the power of the limitless realm. He released his strength. In this star relate to Dantian, this force was like a wanderer. Lonely and helpless. Against the starry sky, this power was too weak. Long Fei's idea was unceasingly feeling it. The plane of the star relate to Dantian was too big, it was simply unable to feel its limit. Can't you find it? Could it be that only the power of the lunar scourge can find a matching power? I can't possibly stay in the divine moon realm all my life, right? Furthermore, I have already leveled up to the boundless realm. Long Fei was very gloomy. When he was using the holomoon state, as long as he released the power of the divine moon, he would immediately be able to sense that the light plane released the power of the sun and moon. But now, Long Fei had already searched for a while, but the pubes did not have any energy to appear. Long Fei was a little depressed. Just when he wanted to retract his strength, suddenly, a ray of light pierced the night sky. In an instant. Rumble. That beam of light was directly linked to the infinity energy Long Fei released. Buzz. An ear-piercing buzz exploded. Long Fei's eardrums almost exploded. The instant his power connected, a huge primal chaos diagram appeared at the point of the energy link. Yin-yang Taiji. It was as though his strength had exploded. Holy **T. This power. Damn. This is even stronger than the power of the sun and moon. This. Long Fei could feel the power inside the primal chaos diagram. His blood boiled and every hair on his body stood on end. If I can release this power, then what? Long Fei carefully controlled it, and did not dare to rashly release his power. He was worried, will destroy the entire Mu clan. This was because the power of the primal chaos diagram was truly intrepid. One miscontrol. Continue. Another failure. Continue. Long Fei continued to search for the right place. He believed that the later realms were fine as well. Moreover, the higher his realm level was, the stronger the corresponding strength would be among the pubes. But the fusion point was common. As long as he found the fusion point, Long Fei would be able to control the power of the pubes. The pubes' power would be under his control. Then who did he have to be afraid of? Worked hard the entire night. However, he still did not find the right place in the morning. Long Fei was not worried, the pubes was in his body, as long as he did not die, he could cultivate and find the perfect place to cultivate. If one night was not enough, then 10 days. If 10 days were not enough, then a month would have passed. As long as he found the perfect match point, he believed. That would be the time to destroy everything. In the morning, the sun was shining in the yard. Long Fei's eyes slightly opened, and spat out a mouthful of impure qi, after which he looked at Mu Yun, who had similarly not slept a night, and was still squatting in the corner. Long Fei was cultivating. Mu Yun would never rest. Long Fei walked to his side and patted his shoulder, saying, "Let's go, today is your big day." Long Fei had said that since you like to ignore him today, then you wouldn't be able to climb up tomorrow. Long Fei had said that since you like to ignore him today, then you wouldn't be able to climb up tomorrow. What kind of woman was Mu Yarrow? In reality, she knew very well what she wanted. Just like the women on Earth in his previous life, if they wanted money, houses, and a car, no one would give them a second look. However, what they saw was only in front of their eyes. Potential was the true way. Mu Yun's current realm was even stronger than Mu Yarrow's, and the 8-explosion fist he cultivated was even fiercer than Mu Yarrow's. His physical body, his speed, his strength. It could be said that in the entire Eastern District's younger generation, there was no one who could match up to him. Obviously, Mu Yarrow did not know about this. To her, Mu Yun was just a low-level talent with no future service disciple. She could not waste her time on such people. Moreover, Long Fei had humiliated her before, so she did not place him in her eyes at all. Mu Yun stood up, looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, I suddenly don't want to participate in the assessment anymore, He had thought a lot that night. He felt that it was meaningless. He also knew that he might not have many days left to live. It doesn't matter. Long Fei fiercely snorted and said, "A woman defeated you. Are you still my brother? The woman that I, Long Fei's brother, likes, even if the other party does not like you, I will still obtain her no matter what method I use. Because you are my brother." Understood. Mu Yun thought about many things during the night. At this moment, he was like a person who had lost all will to fight. It did not have the beastly nature of a beast in the mountains. Mu Yun looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, Long Fei interrupted, "Don't talk to me so much. The more you look down on her, the more you have to let her see for herself how foolish she was back then." Mu Yun still did not have a single ounce of spirit, and his heart was very tired. The eggplant was frosted ordinary. Long Fei was also furious in his heart, and directly said, "It's fine if you don't participate, you are my brother. If I don't return, I will destroy you as a woman, so I will kill her during the assessment." Very serious. If the two Mu Yunes did not participate, he would really do so. Mu Yun's eyes turned cold, his gaze immediately changed as he said, "Boss." Long Fei asked, "Just tell me whether or not you are participating, don't waste my breath." Mu Yun hesitated for 2 seconds before saying, "Yes." Long Fei said, "Then follow me." Long Fei walked out of the courtyard. Mu Yun followed him. He still could not let Mu Yarrow go. Even after a night of hard work, he still could not let it go. He really liked Mu Yarrow. The East Square was bustling with noise and excitement. Today was the big day of the assessment. To some disciples, this was probably the most important day of their lives. Upon entering the South area, one's life trajectory would definitely change. It was full of people early in the morning. Long Fei did not sleep for the entire night, but since he was currently in the limitless realm, his sleepless night was of no consequence. Not long after, he brought Mu Yun here as well. Their appearance immediately attracted countless gazes. "That's Mu Fei. It's those 2 service disciples. I heard they are the disciples of the West Region's elders." It's not just the West Region elders. Even the senior brother S in the North Region are related to them. Who the hell are these 2 people? What's the use of having so many connections? The assessment is a competition of strength and cultivation, not relationships. I think those 2 service disciples will be eliminated in the first round. Isn't that so? Their talent is low. How can their talent and cultivation be high like that? I think any one of the senior brother S can take their little lives. Servant disciples should have the awareness to become service disciples. A sparrow trying to turn into a phoenix just by flying onto a branch. A toad wants to eat a swan. Ha ha ha. Many people in the crowd started to mock him. Even if Long Fei had Mu Xingyun's recommendation and their relationship with the 7 strong men of North Region, no one would think favorably of them. Just because of their identities. Servant disciple. The reason why he was a service disciple was because of his talent. A low-level talent was not something that could be used for cultivation. How could such a person pass the examination? Long Fei said indifferently, "Do you hear the mocking laughter from your surroundings?" Mu Yun said, "Yes." Long Fei said, "Are you angry?" Mu Yun replied, "I don't care, but since they said boss, I was displeased." Long Fei said, "Do you want to slap their faces?" Mu Yun asked, "How do I fight?" Long Fei said, "No need to be courteous on the stage, we will directly attack." Mu Yun replied, "Understood." Ridicule? Wait till your face swells up. A fierce slap. Not long after, Mu Yarrow and the group walked out from the other side. Instantly, everyone's gaze was drawn over. Senior sister Mu Yarrow. Senior brother Mu Ling, senior brother Mu Feng. Wow! They are the strongest disciples in the Eastern region. They will definitely be among the top few who enter the South area this year. Just like celebrity contestants, their appearance caused a huge commotion. All kinds of praises could be heard, and one would be tempted to lick their shoes for them. Seeing Long Fei and Mu Ling laughed coldly and said, "Mu Fei, the two of you really dare to come." Mu Feng glanced at Long Fei and her, then said while looking at Mu Yarrow, "The two of them are mere service disciples that displease you." Mu Ling said, "Senior brother Feng, that's them. His name is Mu Fei." Mu Ling pointed at Long Fei with a sneer on her face and said, "The illegitimate child of the young master of Mu clan, a useless trash. Don't even think about it in this life." Long Fei's eyes tensed up. Although he wasn't an illegitimate child, he was still very unhappy when he heard these words. However, it seemed that Mu Ling had investigated him. Mu Yun clenched his fists, took a step forward and was about to attack. Mu Ling then pointed at him and said, "This guy is called Mu Yun, and is a trash of the who can only fight in the side branch. Oh right, he likes junior sister Mu Yarrow." He had always wanted to let him see. He had no idea he was a toad. Ha ha ha. The moment he said that, the surrounding crowd burst into laughter. Mu Yun could not hold it in, his body was already releasing that kind of berserk beast aura, but it was held back by Long Fei. "No rush, no rush." Mu Yun said, "Boss, I'm going to cripple him." Long Fei said, "Only by being crippled on the stage will it feel good." Face smacking naturally had to have a stage. Mu Feng looked at the two of them and said, "The two of you should obediently accept your deaths on the stage later." Humph. He was extremely pleased with himself. They walked up. Mu Yarrow walked to Long Fei's side and said coldly, "On account of the time where you helped me clear my doubts, you can still survive if you withdraw from the examination. If you enter the arena, you will die." His eyes were filled with contempt. He did not place Long Fei in his eyes at all. She was currently a Holomoon state, not the god state from 1 month ago. Right now, Long Fei was not her match at all. Of course. This was what she thought. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up, and said, "It's the same as last time. If you lose, sleep with my brother for a night." Last time might have been a joke, but this time Long Fei was very serious. Last time might have been a joke, but this time Long Fei was very serious. Moreover, he definitely would make Mu Yarrow accompany his brother. The reason was simple, Mu Yun was his brother. Mu Yarrow's eyes turned sinister, his fists clenched tightly under his sleeves. He wanted to become angry, but he held it back in the end. "I will not get angry at a service disciple. You guys do not exist in my world. Since all of you are courting death, it is up to you." Finished. Mu Yarrow walked over coldly. Long Fei said, "How was the bet just now? If you lose, sleep with my brother for a night. Also, by the way, I'll remind you that the world you see is nothing but a fart in my eyes." When Mu Yarrow heard this, she was a little angry. But she did not stop, and did not argue further with Long Fei. Just as she had said just now, there was simply no existence like Long Fei in her world. Mu Ling glanced at Long Fei and sneered, "Junior sister Mu Yarrow has given you a chance, don't you know to cherish it? Then prepare to moan on the stage later." Humph. Mu Ling's eyes were filled with disdain as well. Of course. When he was speaking, Long Fei didn't even spare him a glance. Not long later, an elder stepped onto the stage and said, "Today is the big day of our Eastern region, because today, God's General will choose his disciples to enter South area. You are all the elites of the Eastern District and are all recommended by the elders. Today, I will use all of your strength because today's competition will determine the fate of all of you. Everyone, you can do it." As soon as he finished speaking, Mu Feng took a step forward and said, "Elder, punches and kicks have no eyes. What if we accidentally kill someone? After all, some of us are only here to make up the numbers. People like us don't have any strength, So what if we don't control our strength well and just kill them? You don't have to be responsible, do you? As long as one was not a fool, one would be able to tell that Mu Feng's words were aimed at Long Fei and Mu Yun. Without waiting for the elder to speak, Long Fei stepped forward and laughed. Senior brother seems to be talking to us two brothers. Mu Feng was also very direct as he said, "That's right. I'm talking to you two pieces of trash." Long Fei said, "Since you said that to us, then I can state my stance now. If you kill me on the stage later, you do not have to take any responsibility. Death is my right and deserved. However, on the other hand, senior brother, you?" Mu Feng sneered and said, "Do you think you can still defeat me? Only trash with low-ranked talent like you? Don't you think you're dreaming? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha." Many people in the crowd burst out in laughter. Who was Mu Feng? He could be said to have made full use of the strongest disciple of the Eastern District in this exam. No one could stop him. He had been cultivating in the South area for a long time already, and had received pointers from the South area elder. His current cultivation was also the highest in the entire Eastern region, reaching the 4th grade of Holomoon State. The strongest disciple. It was easy to enter the South area. The disciples of the Eastern District were not his match at all. How could a mere service disciple like Long Fei be a match for him? It was simply laughable. Long Fei said, "Please answer me directly, senior brother. If I beat you to death, what should I do? Should I take responsibility?" Mu Feng said in a loud voice, "If I was beaten to death by you, then I deserve it. But, do you think it's possible?" Long Fei said, "Whether it is possible or not, we will know after we enter the stage." And then, Long Fei did not stop there but asked, "Elder, what about the other senior brother that senior brother Mu Feng expressed? My strength as a service disciple is not that bad. If I accidentally injured them and crippled them, I should not be held responsible, right? What a joke. With just you." Mu Ling was the first to jump out. Many disciples immediately followed and said, "Brat, you're so arrogant. Why is a service disciple so arrogant? If we lose to you guys, we deserve it. In the arena, I'll be the first to take your dog life." Many of the candidates were filled with righteous indignation, just like their mothers. The elder gently coughed as he said, "Mu Fei, you heard what they said. Don't worry, you won't be held responsible. You have to protect yourself." He reminded her in good faith. After all, Long Fei's identity was a little special. Mu Xingyun and 7 strong men of North region were speaking up for him, so he, a single elder from the Eastern region, did not dare to be negligent. "All right. Any other questions? If there's none, then we'll begin." The elder said a few words. Long Fei stood out again, and said, "Clan elder, are my brothers the same as me?" The elder impatiently said, "All right. Any more questions?" Long Fei shook his head, "Not anymore." The elder continued, "Your names have been entered into the list. When the next list of contestants appears, the winner will enter the next round. The loser will be eliminated. Have some rest, we'll start the arena exam immediately." The East District's assessment was not that complicated. There was only one round of competition. This was because every disciple was carefully selected by the elders and recommended by the elites of the Eastern District. The arena competition was an assessment. A few registration elders poured the names of each disciple onto a piece of black stone. At this moment, many people were discussing, "If only those 2 useless brats could be my opponents, then I will definitely send them to the next round. Ha ha ha. I want to go up against those 2 too. The 2 of them are just sending off babies." 2 service disciples with low talent, do they know what training is? There are no service disciples who have passed the examination. That's right. God bless me, let me meet one of them, Amitabha. In their eyes, Long Fei and Mu Yun were 2 soft persimmons, anyone could pinch them, anyone could crush them under their feet. Servant disciples had low aptitude. The arena exam was a gift. It was not only them, Mu Ling was also secretly praying to meet either Long Fei or Mu Yun, as this would allow her to show off a little in front of Mu Yao. Mu Ling was a spirit grassmaster, but his martial arts cultivation was not weak either. He was confident that he could defeat Long Fei easily. Looking at Long Fei, who was in the middle of the crowd, Mu Ling secretly said, "Brat, as long as I meet you, I will definitely teach you a lesson. I lost to you the last time, I will take it back in the arena." 5 minutes later, the elder said, "All right, the list of contestants is out." As soon as he finished speaking, the first match list appeared on the gigantic black stone screen. Everyone turned to look at that direction. Mu Ling's pupils constricted as she laughed excitedly. "Ha ha ha. Mu Fei, you useless trash, quickly come and die." Mu Ling couldn't wait any longer. Mu Ling couldn't wait any longer. The feeling of having his wish come true was too refreshing. Everyone turned to look at Mu Ling. Many people were envious. Mu Ling's senior brother sure is lucky. Although Mu Ling's senior brother is a spirit grass master, his strength can crush 10 streets of that service disciple. My luck is really good. How come I don't have that kind of luck? Why is that? Without waiting for the elder's declaration, Mu Ling gently leaped up and landed on the stage. Her finger moved as she pointed at Long Fei and said with an excited smile on her face, "Come, come, quickly come up." Mu Yun said, "Boss, let me go. I want to kill him." Mu Yun looked at Mu Ling's complacent expression and felt quite unhappy. Fight against Mu Feng, the person with the highest cultivation among all these people. Prepare yourself. Long Fei laughed. As for this guy, let him be proud for a few seconds. He's about to cry, no. He should be crippled by now. The elder announced, for the first match, Mu Fei versus Mu Ling disciples, please enter the arena. Mu Ling couldn't wait any longer and said, "Little servant, hurry up. You'll kneel down and call me father the moment you find me." Unrivaled smug. That complacent face of his really deserved a beating. Long Fei leisurely walked up the stage. Mu Ling said smugly, "Brat, either kneel down and call me grandpa, then apologize to junior sister. I'll spare your life today. Or, you will die here today." Long Fei looked at the elder and asked, "Clan elder, may we begin?" The elder said, "Sure." Mu Ling said, "Little servant, quickly kneel down and call for me." Before he could finish his words, bam! A muffled sound rang out. Boom! An afterimage flew out. Tens of meters away, atop a large tree, Mu Ling's body hung from a branch, her legs weakly swaying. Blood was trickling from the corner of her mouth, and her face was incomparably pale. There was no sound at all. It should be useless. No one in the audience reacted. All they saw was the sudden loss of one person on the stage. Everyone's gaze was stunned. It wasn't until a muffled sound rang out that they finally shifted their gazes towards the direction of the big tree. Senior brother Mu Ling. This. What just happened? This. Did you guys see it clearly? Senior brother Mu Ling, what's wrong? What are you doing flying up a tree? Could it be that the senior brother Mu Ling is releasing some powerful cultivation technique? Definitely. That kid is going to suffer soon. Mu Ling had somehow flown onto a tree. No one could clearly see what had happened. They all thought that Mu Ling was going to release a powerful cultivation technique. Even some elders couldn't help but urge, "Mu Ling, what are you doing? This is an examination, hurry up and make your move." However, Mu Ling didn't react at all after a few more calls. Long Fei said faintly, "Elder, can I go down?" "Huh? Down? Where are you going?" The elder was also unable to react in time. At this moment, one of the disciples that walked in let out a startled cry, and said, Sir. Elder, no, it's not bad. Mu Ling, he's dead." As soon as he finished speaking, the entire audience was quiet, and everyone's gaze shifted towards Long Fei. Long Fei looked at his fist, and muttered to himself, "Aya, my strength control was wrong. I thought I was only crippled, I didn't expect that I would die." His eyes moved. Long Fei looked at the elder and said, "Elder, I do not need to take responsibility, do I?" The elder was also stunned. He didn't know that such a thing would happen. An elder also quickly walked to Mu Ling's side. After checking for a bit, he said, "There's no more air." An uproar broke out. Presided elders looked at Long Fei. Long Fei waited for the answer and said, I couldn't control my strength, a mistake, but I think he said he deserved it, right? Not bad at all. Luckily, I asked him about it just now. Long Fei pretended to be afraid and thought in his heart, last time I gave you a chance, and now you dare to jump out. You're looking to die. Why wouldn't I help you? The clan elder's expression was wooden. He did not know how to handle this situation, but seeing that Long Fei was walking down the stage, he could only give up. After all, Mu Ling just said something like that. However, he was thinking, what did Long Fei do just now? It was not only him, all the elders and disciples present were also thinking about this question. What did Long Fei do? Why did Mu Ling instantly hang from a tree? Too fast. No one could see it clearly. Long Fei walked down the stage, purposely walked to Mu Yaro's side, and said indifferently, Did you see it clearly? If you don't see it clearly, then I'll slow down a bit later. With that, Long Fei smiled and left with big strides. In the instant that Long Fei spoke, Mu Yaro could not move a single inch. She also did not see clearly how Long Fei made his move just now. In a month's time, she broke through the Holomoon state, thinking that Long Fei was no longer his match. But now, Mu Yaro's gaze tensed up, his fists clenched tightly. At this moment, although her confidence had suffered a slight blow, she still firmly believed that she could defeat Long Fei. First place, the first match is over. Mu Fei wins. The elder didn't even speak quickly. After all, someone had died. Mu Ling was also the chosen disciple of the South Area's Elder Pill principal, and she died just like that. He must be responsible. And then, the elder said, Fists and feet have no eyes, not bad, but we are all disciples of the same sect, Senior Brother S. He was worried about dying again. He had thought that the arrogant disciples were just playing around, but now it seemed that no one was playing around with him. Next match. Mu Sui vs Mu Li disciples, please step forward. The competition continued. It was just that many of them were still thinking about the test Long Fei had taken on Mu Ling too fast. They wanted to know what had happened. In the next round, Mu Yaro against Mu Yuran. Disciples, please come on stage. After saying the name Mu Yaro, the surroundings immediately quietened down. Mu Yaro's figure moved, and with a light leap, she landed on the stage like a dragonfly touching the water, receiving a round of applause. Senior sister Mu Yaro is too beautiful. Senior sister, I love you. Mu Yao, do your best. Mu Yaro stood on stage, looked at his opponent, cupped his hands and said, Senior brother, please. Mu Yuaran's sword moved, and he said, Junior sister, look at this. As soon as he finished speaking, Mu Yaro's figure also suddenly changed, the power in his body gushed out, and he shouted, 8 Tyrant Fist. Rumble. A muffled sound rang out. A punch was directed at Mu Yuaran's chest. Bam! Mu Yugran was directly sent flying. There were 8 consecutive explosions as he spat out a large mouthful of blood. He landed on the ground with great difficulty and got up as he said, I lost. Mu Yaro slightly bowed, and said, Thank you, senior brother. It was also a move. Fast, ruthless, and fierce. Mu Yaro wins. In the next match, Mu Yun will battle Mu Feng. Disciples, please come on stage. The elder called out the names of the two. The two of them walked onto the stage. At this time, Long Fei stood behind Mu Yaro and said with an indifferent tone, Take a serious look, he will let you know what the real 8 explosion fist is. Long Fei stood behind Mu Yaro and looked at him. Long Fei stood behind Mu Yaro and looked at him. Mu Yaro was slightly shocked. She didn't know when, but Long Fei was standing behind her. However, when she heard Long Fei speak, a trace of disdain flowed out from the corner of her mouth as she coldly asked, Would a service disciple be a match for senior brother Mu Feng? He directly used the word service disciple to describe Mu Yun. Evidently, Mu Yaro did not even remember Mu Yun's name in his heart, and did not even have the qualifications for her to call his name out. She was arrogant. At least in the Eastern District, she was like a swan. Long Fei said, Heh. The 8 explosion fists that you had just displayed could only be counted as 7.5 punches. The remaining amount of force has yet to come out. Do you think you've succeeded? Unfortunately, you haven't. You think your innate talent isn't bad, but if you enter the south area, you will only be a normal disciple. Where can you go? What kind of realm can you enter? Limitless? Or was it Howren? Or forever stay in the Holomoon state? You think you have a lot of capital, but in my eyes, your most valuable thing is your face. In my world, you are at most a vase. If it wasn't for my brother liking you, you wouldn't even be qualified to be a vase. Long Fei said leisurely. Mu Yaro's eyes were filled with anger, and she said, "What exactly do you want to say?" Long Fei said, "I want you to see the reality clearly." Reality? Mu Yaro's words were ice cold as he asked, "What is the reality?" The reality is that I listen to your orders. The reality is that you want me to be with a service disciple. Is this reality? No, this is not a reality. The reality is that a service disciple like him is about to die. The reality is that the reason I have trained day and night for these 3 years is to enter South Area. Don't talk to me about reality. She knew exactly what she wanted. What she wanted was to have a continuous breakthrough, and obtain even more powerful strength. She wanted to enter the South Area, the Western region, and finally the Northern region. As for love, she had never thought of it. She never looked down, she only looked up. Long Fei's mouth hooked up, and said, "Seems like you still don't understand what I mean. Calm down, we'll see after you finish watching this match. Senior Brother Mu Feng, cripple this service disciple. Senior Brother Mu Feng, kill him. I heard that his cultivation has already reached the 4th level of the Divine Moon Realm. Not to mention the Eastern region, even among the people of the same age in South Area, there are very few who can match him." That's right. I really don't know who that service disciple was who gave him the courage to go up on stage. Isn't that just courting death? He is the toad that likes senior sister Mu Yaro, the toad. Ha ha ha. In the eyes of the disciples, as well as the elders, there was no suspense in this competition. Because the difference was too great. Mu Feng was a disciple that had entered the South Area 100%, and Mu Yun? He was just a lowly servant. Mu Yaro said coldly, "Look, everyone is laughing at him, everyone thinks that he will lose. His opponent is Senior Brother Mu Feng. On what basis does he deserve to win? What basis does he have to win? Humans need to know their own limitations. What kind of person are they? Then what kind of thing should they do?" His words were filled with ridicule. Long Fei laughed and said, "You're right, people need to know their own limits." And then, Long Fei shouted towards the stage, "Mu Yun." Mu Yun looked at him. Long Fei raised a finger. The corner of Mu Yun's mouth curled up as he excitedly smiled, revealing his pure white teeth. He understood what Long Fei meant. Mu Yaro did not understand. "What do you mean?" Long Fei said, "You'll know soon." In the arena, the corner of Mu Feng's mouth curved into a disdainful sneer as he said, "Is a trash servant worthy to be standing on the same stage as me? Sure. I'll send you to hell today. It'll be that trash Mu Fei later." Before he could finish his sentence, Mu Feng had already moved. An uproar. His figure moved like the wind, his fist moved, the thick power of the divine moon surged out, striking Mu Yun in the head with his fist. It was very cruel. With this punch, his head would definitely be smashed to smithereens. Mu Yun stood in place without moving, as if he did not react at all. Like a fool. No reaction at all. How will his cultivation react? He must have died a horrible death. Ha ha ha. Mu Yaro could not help but say indifferently, "This is the 8 tyrant fist that you wanted me to see? I think it's a fixed fist, where you don't move and get beaten up." Long Fei did not speak. Because he was very clear about Mu Yun's strength. His cultivation level was not as high as Mu Feng's. If Mu Feng didn't fight in close quarters, then he might have a chance of winning. But now, he was even closer. Then he had no chance at all. When the fist was still half a centimeter away from Mu Yun's head, Mu Yun moved. Both fists moved at the same time. His body emitted the aura of a wild beast. A series of bursting joints. With a sinking punch, the two fists struck each other forcefully in the middle. Bam! Rumble! 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 A series of explosions occurred. Mu Feng's body came to a halt. His entire body froze in front of Mu Yun, his fist was still far from Mu Yun's office, and then slowly dropped down. And then, on his left and right temples, were Mu Yun's two fists. Two bulges protruded. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper. Time seemed to come to a standstill as the entire plaza turned deathly silent. Everyone stared at the arena with their mouths wide open. Everyone was dumbfounded. What made them even more foolish was, Mu Feng's body suddenly trembled. Bang, bang, bang. 8 loud bangs exploded in 8 places, causing the silent open ground to be just like a thunderclap. It was extremely ear-piercing. Every time it exploded, Mu Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. A disciple who had practiced the 8-explosion fist cried out in fear, is this the 8-explosion fist? 8-tyrant fist? Isn't the sound too intense? I have never seen such an 8-tyrant fist. At that moment of shock, another 8 explosions sounded. The 8 spots on Mu Feng's body exploded once again. Bang, bang, bang. This shocked even more people. They were all scared silly. Even the elders were stunned. An elder said in astonishment, 8 storms 8 more, is this the 16 tyrant fists? This. Terrifying. The other elder stood up and looked at Mu Feng, who was on the verge of collapsing, and said, this is impossible, absolutely impossible. A final explosive sound rang out as Mu Feng's body shot backwards. He lost his breath. Dead. One punch was enough to kill him. One punch was enough to kill him. Everyone was dumbfounded. Long Fei took a step forward, stood by Mu Yaro's side, looked at the stage indifferently, and said, did you see it clearly? Who's thinking too highly of themselves? Now do you know what I mean by reality? His words were like a slap to the face. No. To Mu Yaro, every word that he said was like a slap that ruthlessly slapped her face. Both her left and right cheeks were burning hot. She could not speak a word. The instant Mu Yun punched out, she knew that it was the beginning of the 8-explosion fist. At that time, she had thought that at that distance, if she punched at that speed, she wouldn't have much strength. However, she was wrong, ridiculously wrong. Not only was the power shockingly great, it was also, when the real power of the 8-explosion fist was unleashed, every single one of the 8 violent winds was extremely violent. Every attack was seriously injured. A violent strength was stronger than a violent strength. Mu Feng had died. If he hadn't died, the heaviest injury on his body wouldn't have been his internal organs, but it would have been the last bit of his consciousness. Most likely, his sea of consciousness had already collapsed. Mu Yun had displayed the power of the 8-explosion fist in one move. If that was the case, Mu Yaro could still consider it from his guidance. At most, she was only a little envious of him, but that didn't affect her swan attitude. However, Mu Yaro struck out with both fists, each fist striking out with the 8-explosion fist, resulting in 16 explosions. I've never seen it before. An unheard-of existence. It was beyond her comprehension. Too strong. Mu Yaro's heart was completely shaken. She didn't know how to describe her current mood, as if it was a pleasant surprise that had just discovered a new continent, but also as if she had been fiercely humiliated. Mu Yaro was a little taken aback. He turned around to look at Long Fei and asked, how did he do it? Long Fei laughed coldly and said, do you want to learn it? Mu Yaro looked at Long Fei's hoodlum face. If it was before, she would not have bothered to take another look, but now. Can you teach me? Long Fei said, what do you think? Mu Yaro pursed his lips and did not say a word. Long Fei turned around and left, saying indifferently, if you want to learn, then go find the people you know. Mu Yaro watched as Mu Yun walked down the stage. Her heart was in torment. It was very hard. Because of Mu Yun's transformation, a service disciple overturned the strongest disciple in the eastern region and everyone was staring at him. He didn't dare to mock them again. Those who had just mocked him all lowered their heads. Monster. Several elders stepped forward to check on Mufeng's injuries. One of the elders frowned and shouted, "You dare to kill someone? Little bastard, I want your life." The clan elder bellowed angrily as he leapt up from the stage and flew into the air, straight towards the back of Mu Yun's head. He was Mufeng's master. Mufeng was the disciple he was most proud of. He had poured too much effort and resources into Mufeng, so he still wanted to rely on Mufeng to build a relationship with the South Area's elders. But now, Mufeng had actually died. How could he tolerate anger? He flew straight up into the air, ready to kill Mu Yun. Boom! A muffled sound rang out in the air. Presided elders shouted, "Fifth elder." Mu Yun did not discover the danger behind him. However, Long Fei sensed it. He suddenly stopped and turned, walked to Mu Yaro's side, locking onto the fifth elder who was in midair. He smiled, "I'll let you see the reality clearly again." Before he finished speaking, Long Fei's figure had already disappeared. Mu Yaro only saw a blur before his eyes and then Long Fei was gone. In the next moment, a figure appeared in midair. In an instant. Boom! The aura of the everlasting realm was released and it directly crushed the fifth elder's body. Fifth elder was only at the 7th stage of the divine moon realm. When facing the pressure of the limitless realm, she instantly stopped, and her whole body fell down from the sky. However, Long Fei did not let him fall down so easily. Attacking his brother? If it was outside, he would definitely kill him. This was the Mu clan, and it was his grandfather's family. Boom! One of his legs formed a whip and kicked the fifth elder's abdomen. The fifth elder heavily smashed into the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Long Fei slowly descended, retracting the aura of the limitless realm. A sneak attack? Are you even fit to be an elder? The fifth elder's face was pale white. She looked at Long Fei with frightened eyes and said, "Limitless realm. No, no, impossible. How could you be in the limitless realm?" As soon as he finished speaking, the crowd exploded. Infinity realm? There were actually experts of the everlasting realm in the East District. Not an elder, nor an elite disciple, but a service disciple. If these two words didn't come from an elder, no one would believe them. He's at the limitless realm? A mere service disciple like him is actually at the limitless realm? This is impossible, right? Did you not sense the aura just now? It's like I'm kneeling on the ground. That aura is too strong. What kind of world is this? Servant disciples are all in the everlasting realm? A few elders quickly walked forward. The idea on presided elders slightly moved, wanting to feel Long Fei's cultivation realm. Long Fei frowned, he stared straight at the presided elders, and said indifferently, "I have just stepped into the limitless realm, anyone who isn't convinced can come up." Presided elders' expression changed slightly as he immediately retracted his aura and carefully said, "Mu Fei, your cultivation. I was just wondering why Elder Xingyun would recommend you, and why 7 strong men of North Region would call you eldest brother, so that's how it is. My apologies." Presided elders bowed over and over. The other elders followed. The surrounding disciples all bowed towards Long Fei. This was the world. Powerhouse was respected. No matter what your identity is, as long as you're strong enough, the entire world will make way for you. Long Fei laughed. "The assessment will continue, don't delay everyone's assessment just because of me." Presided elders immediately replied, "Yes, yes, yes." He didn't dare offend Long Fei right now. Forget about the relationships behind Long Fei, just with his current strength, he could easily take his place. Presided elders walked to the stage. "The assessment will continue, the next round will be." The test continued. Long Fei walked past Mu Yaro and said, "Did you see the reality clearly?" With that, Long Fei left with big strides, leaving behind a trembling Mu Yaro. The goddess of the East District. A high and mighty swan. Already been selected by the South Area clan elder. Looking down on service disciples. Now it seemed that she found herself to be like a clown in front of Long Fei, incomparably laughable. 16 violent punches, impossible to match. Now, Long Fei was even in the limitless realm. He looked up at them as if they were existences. Her heart was battered again and again. His face was swollen. And even thought that he could defeat Long Fei, but from the looks of it, it was all a joke. She clenched her fists tightly and turned to look for Long Fei. It was also at this time. Suddenly, a voice came out from Long Fei's sea of consciousness. "Master, we found Mu Changfeng. He is heavily injured." Undead Ghost's voice suddenly came out. Undead Ghost's voice suddenly came out. Long Fei's gaze tightened. "Where is he?" Undead Ghost replied, "Nameless Valley." Long Fei asked, "How many?" Undead Ghost, "I found Mu Changfeng." Long Fei didn't think much of it and immediately said, "Bring them back quickly." Nameless Valley? There were many valleys in God-Living Mountain, and even Long Fei did not know where the Nameless Valley was, but Mu Changfeng was still shocked when he was heavily injured. Who did it? Undead Lord? If it was the Undead Lord, then he should have explained it clearly just now. One must know that the mission Long Fei gave them contained information on the location of the Undead Lord, but the Undead Ghost did not say anything. It was hard for Long Fei to say what the situation was right now. He could only let the Undead Ghost bring him back first. Saving him was more important. Mu Yun looked at the absent-minded Long Fei and asked, "Boss, what's wrong?" Long Fei lightly shook his head and said, "I'm fine." Before he could finish his sentence, another sound transmission rang out. "Master, I've discovered that Mu Yu is heavily injured." Long Fei's heart sank. "Another one is seriously injured?" Long Fei asked, "Who injured him?" Undead Ghost replied, "I didn't see it." Long Fei said, "Bring them back quickly." Understood. 2 people were heavily injured. They were all heavily injured. Not even dead. If it was really the Undead Lord who attacked them, then they shouldn't be able to live. Long Fei had an ominous premonition in his heart. Next, multiple mental transmissions rang out. They were all heavily injured. Long Fei could no longer stay in the plaza. 7 strong men of North Region was grandfather's direct disciple, and since he was the boss, they were his brothers. The 5 of them left the Northern Region to look for evidence, and now that they were all heavily injured, Long Fei was a little worried. Immediately, Long Fei said to Mu Yun, "I'll leave the rest of the things here to you. If there's something urgent, I'll leave first." There was no explanation. Long Fei quickly left the plaza. Why did he leave? The first round of the assessment has just ended. Is he giving up? I don't understand him. Is there anything more important than the assessment? Several elders began whispering to each other. However, there were no elders stopping Long Fei. Because he didn't dare. Long Fei was related to both the Western region and the Northern region. Furthermore, his cultivation had already reached the infinite realm. Have we arrived? How much longer? Hurry, hurry, hurry. Long Fei quickly left the east side and entered the mountain forest. Mu Changfeng didn't want too many people to notice them because their identities were special. After all, they were Mu Tianha's direct disciples. Long Fei chose a spot at the center according to the direction they gave him. Long Fei hurried over. The 5 undead ghostess also quickly rushed to that place. Out of a total of 6 undead ghosts, only 1 had yet to receive any news. Right now, with 5 people heavily injured, and with the other undead ghost Long Fei not being able to call him back, he did not think of all these. Right now, he only wanted to quickly see Mu Changfeng and the others. Mu Clan, North District. Mu Hertai's courtyard. Mu Yuting bowed and reported, "Clan leader, all 5 of them have been dealt with. According to what you said, they have crippled their cultivation and destroyed their pubes." The corner of Mu Hertai's mouth slightly curled, his eyes narrowed, and revealed a slight smile, as he said, "Very good. Direct disciple? The future leader of the Mu clan? Ha ha ha. Are those brats trying to climb on top of me? Are they worthy?" Mu Hertai laughed, "I am the clan leader, I am the one in charge of the Mu clan, I am the leader of the Mu clan. Right now, and in the future as well." Rights. It was something that could make a person lose their mind. Right now, Mu Hertai was completely silent. He had to get rid of anyone that threatened him, because he was worried that one day he would be kicked out. Muhurtai asked, "Where are they now?" Mu Yuting said, "Inside the mountain, they will not die for a while. With their physique, they should be able to climb back to Mu clan." Ha ha ha. Muhurtai's image of Mu Changfeng and the others crawling back to the Mu clan appeared in Muhurtai's mind. "Big bro, your direct disciple crawling back to the Mu clan, ha ha ha. It must be very interesting." Right now, Mu Tianhe was in seclusion and the 7 of them were his representatives. Mu Changfeng and the rest of the 7 had extremely high reputations in the entire Mu clan, and everyone knew who their future successors would be. If he was crippled, if he climbed back up from the mountain, what kind of blow would this be to them? It was a devastating blow to Mu Tianhe. A person who had been personally groomed to become a disciple would be reduced to trash. This was also the reason why Mu Hurtai did not kill Mu Changfeng. He wanted to use them to cause Mu Tianhe's prestige to suffer a crushing defeat, and turn his position of acting patriarch into that of a genuine patriarch, the person who held the highest authority in the Mu clan. Now, Mu Changfeng and the others were already severely injured. As long as they could wait for them to crawl back to the Mu clan. Mu Yuting said, "Clan leader, there are still 2 people." Muhurtai asked, "Do you know where they are?" Mu Yuting nodded, Every single movement of theirs is within my grasp. I suspect that the Mu Ru and young Master Mu went to the hanging cliff where the old patriarch was cultivating in seclusion." Muhurtai's eyes tensed up. Hanging cliff? They really know how to choose a place. Since you have grasped their whereabouts, let's handle it together. Just like Mu Changfeng and the other 3, we shall cripple their cultivation and destroy the pubes, Mu Hurtai said coldly. Mu Yuting said, "I'll arrange it." He turned around and left the courtyard. Mu Hurtai looked up at the sky, and revealed a smile at the corner of his mouth, and said indifferently, "I only need a chance, and now the chance has come. Big brother, our big brother, don't blame me for being heartless, as your little brother, but back then, it wasn't because of the huge mistake you made to protect your daughter. I also didn't want to change the Mu clan, and only I can make it rise again, and only I can change the Mu clan." Ha ha ha. He began to laugh maniacally. Mu Hurtai was very pleased with himself. This time, he would definitely seize this opportunity. They would definitely beat Mu Tianhe to a pulp. "Have we arrived? Hurry up. Have we arrived?" Long Fei was very anxious. He had arrived first. Rumble. Suddenly, a cold wind attacked. Long Fei's order was to use the fastest speed possible. He did not waste even a second on the road, and rushed here as fast as he could. Seeing the undead ghost, Long Fei immediately asked, "How is he?" Reporting to Master, "I'm still breathing." Undead ghost put Mu Changfeng down. Long Fei took a look around, and when he felt the pubes, his expression tightened. The pubes. The pubes. It broke. He didn't know whether to check or not, but once he checked, Long Fei was even stunned. He didn't know whether to check or not, but once he checked, Long Fei was even stunned. No one knew what the pubes' destruction meant better than him. He would never forget this feeling for the rest of his life. If he didn't have the game system, his bones would have rotted. Who did it? Long Fei clenched both his fists tightly. The aura around his body suddenly underwent a drastic change. The anger and killing intent in his body instantly burst forth, and the surrounding temperature quickly dropped as well. Even undead ghost of the Howran realm retreated slightly and said, "Master, when I discovered him, he was already like this. I didn't see anyone else." Long Quang said, "Not only is it the pubes, his cultivation has also been crippled." 2 moves. They were all attacking at close range, crippled their cultivation before shattering the pubes. Judging from the situation, they should be people that know each other, and they should be the kind that is very familiar with it. In the blink of an eye, Long Fei's eyes flashed with a cold glint. "You mean the people from Mu clan did it?" Long Quangdao, "It shouldn't be wrong. If it's an outsider, then I'm afraid that he's already dead. There's no need to spare his life." Long Fei asked, "Then why don't the people from the Mu clan kill him? Let him live." Long Quangdao, "I don't know about that, but I'm sure there are other arrangements." Long Fei looked at the pale Mu Changfeng. Clenching his teeth, he asked, "Is there a way?" Long Guangdao, saving his life in this kind of situation isn't too difficult, it's just that his cultivation is. Pubes was the source of energy. The place where holy source was absorbed. Once the pubes was broken, the sky and earth holy source could not be gathered. This way, even if he survived, he would not be able to cultivate, and would only be a piece of trash. Long Fei said, "Didn't you say last time that you would establish it after you broke it? Can we do it now?" Long Quang shook his head. The pubes' destruction is the key. His pubes' injuries are too severe. The person who attacked never thought of giving him a chance to recover. Long Fei's heart sank. If even Long Quang said there was no other way, then the chances were slim. Looking at Mu Changfeng, Long Fei felt very uncomfortable in his heart. It was because he told Mu Changfeng to report to the upper levels of the Mu clan that he was going to the God-living mountain to look for evidence. Something's happened now. Long Fei had a responsibility that he could not shirk. Then again, they were the direct disciples of his grandfather, and because of his relationship, the 5 of them had turned into cripples. How could he face his grandfather? Long Fei felt very bad in his heart. Seeing Mu Changfeng clenching his fists tightly again. What should I do? There must be a way, there must be a way. Long Fei thought back to when he had saved them from the mountains, and how they were also in dire straits at that time. It's worse than last time. Long Guangdao, if his pubes can recover to 50% of its original strength, I have a way to let them cultivate devil arts and recover their cultivation. It's just that his pubes. I can't think of anything. The pubes' recovery is too difficult. Ordinary people would have already died from such a heavy injury. It's probably a miracle that he was able to survive until now. Long Quang sighed again and again. Long Fei kept thinking of a way in his head. It could be said that he was racking his brains. Last time was fine, but this time is fine too. I'll definitely think of a way. Quick, 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 think of a way. Long Fei kept urging himself. The faster they thought of a way, the more useful it would be for them. However, Long Fei's mind went blank. With his current state of mind, it was impossible for him to think of a solution. Moreover, at this time, another undead ghost descended. On his back was Mu Yu, like Mu Changfeng, whose cultivation was crippled and whose pubes were smashed into pieces. It was a close-range attack. He attacked without any defense. Not long later, the other 3 arrived as well. The 5 of them lay on the floor, pale and unconscious. Long Fei was so anxious that she seemed to go crazy. Looking at the 5 of them, he instantly thought of Mu Ru and young Master Mu. His heart tightened as he thought, this is bad. If it was the Mu clan's men who did it, then they. Holy sh**. Long Fei clenched his teeth to the point that it was about to shatter. The idea moved, golden fur. In the distant mountain forest, Blondie suddenly stopped his attacks. "Boss, what's the matter?" Long Fei said, "Are you far away from me?" Without waiting for Blondie to reply, he continued, "Help me save 2 people. You've met them before, young Master Mu Ru and young Master Mu." The giant golden ape didn't ask any further questions. "All right, I'll head over now." Long Fei was secretly worried. I hope it's too late. If he could save one, then so be it. After sending Golden Fur over, Long Fei looked at Mu Changfeng and the other 3 who were lying on the ground. He sat on the ground and said, "There will definitely be a way." And then, Long Fei sat crossed-legged, lightly exhaled, and closed his eyes. Since he was able to think of a pill formula at that time, he will definitely be able to think of a method to save her now. Long Fei did not give up. No matter if it was Long Baishan's dragon scale power that was effective or his assembled heart that had changed his innate talent that was effective, he had to think of a way to deal with it. He couldn't just sit by and watch his brother become a cripple. After calming his heart, his brain emptied and started operating rapidly. Let him think. Long Fei definitely could not think of something like this. He had to let his brain think on its own, only then would he be able to think of an answer. 2 hours passed. No result. Another 2 hours passed, yet there was still no result. An entire day passed. but Long Fei still could not come up with a solution. Moreover, there was also bad news. Mu Ru and young Master Mu were also heavily injured. When the golden hair brought them to Long Fei's side, they were all at their last gasp. Did Mu Ru see Long Fei? She then saw Mu Changfeng and the rest, and said, "B-boss, yes, it's someone from the northern region of Mu clan. I saw his identity jade tablet. Only the elders of the Judgment Pavilion have such a jade token, and, without waiting for her to finish speaking, she fainted. The giant golden ape said, "Boss, I was a bit too late. By the time I arrived, they were already heavily injured and collapsed on the ground." Blondie was blaming himself. The anger in Long Fei's heart rose to the top, and he said solemnly, "Judgment Pavilion. Why? Why does a family have to get into trouble? Why? Can such a clan be powerful?" Long Fei's heart was filled with hatred. Now, all 7 of them had fallen. His heart became even more furious. He wanted nothing more than to charge into the North District's Judgment Pavilion with the golden hair. However, he didn't. Compared to killing the Judgment Pavilion, what he needed to do now was to save them. After thinking for an entire day, he still wasn't able to come up with a solution. Now, it was already dark. After not being able to think of a solution for such a long period of time, would he still be able to think of one if he were to continue? Long Fei no longer had any confidence in himself. But, just at that moment, Long Fei suddenly felt a flash of inspiration, and an idea suddenly popped out in his mind. The sky-splitting vine has a powerful power of regeneration, and with it, Long Fei thought of the Tong Tian vine. Long Fei thought of the Tong Tian vine. He thought about what the flower fairy had told him about the power of the Tong Tian vine. A powerful power of regeneration. If he used the power of the clear sky vine, would it be able to help Mu Changfeng and the others recover their pubes? Flower fairy, right? Long Fei asked anxiously. The flower fairy said, "Master, the Tong Tian vine does have a powerful regeneration ability, but the Tong Tian vine that Mu Xingyun is raising is still a seedling. Its power is too weak. I'm afraid it cannot reach the kind of effect that you want." This was the truth. The Tong Tian vine in Mu Xingyun's palm was a seedling. The regeneration ability must be very weak. Long Fei said, "I know, but this is the only way, and it will be fine as long as their pubes reaches level 5. Since he couldn't think of any other way, he could only use the sky-piercing vine. No matter what. Long Fei had even wanted to give it a try. He couldn't just watch his own brother, as his grandfather's disciple had died right in front of him. And then, Long Fei ordered, "All of you stay here, I'll go save them. Remember, don't let anyone near." The 5 undead ghostess nodded heavily and said, "Understood." Their ability to carry out Long Fei's orders could be said to be 100%. Long Fei said, "Goldfur, let's go." Long Fei jumped onto the golden hare's back. With a heavy leap, the golden hare quickly disappeared into the forest. Half an hour later, Long Fei arrived at the west side of Mu Clan. This place was much larger than the east region and the environment was much better. Most importantly, the aura of the holy source was thicker. The west region was located in a deep pit filled with the dangers of heaven and earth. The holy source of heaven and earth scattered down like light from the perilous peaks on both sides of the west region. Many disciples were cultivating in the lotus position. When Long Fei arrived at the west region, he was immediately stopped by someone. "Junior brother, this is not a place that you should be." Long Fei said, "Senior brother, can you help me inform Elder Xingyun that I have something important to ask for?" How could a Eastern District kid like you be able to see Elder Xingyun? You, a disciple with a white jade token, actually stepping into the Western region is already against the family's rules, and you still want to meet Elder Xingyun? Get lost. If you don't get lost, I will break your legs. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei hugged both of his arms, and said, "Sorry." As soon as he finished, the pressure of the everlasting realm was released. He moved like a dragon and his figure was like lightning. In just a breath's time, he had flashed past 2 people and entered the west gate. In the blink of an eye, Long Fei had disappeared. The two of them were stupefied. By the time they had reacted, Long Fei was already long gone. What is alchemy? Alchemy refers to the energy contained within the spirit grass that is produced by the heavens and the earth. It is activated, merged, and then condensed into a pellet. Every single spirit grass has their own special characteristics. In order to refine a high-grade medicinal pellet, one must be familiar with every single one of them. This is the most basic thing. Do you understand? In the pill courtyard, an elder was imparting knowledge to the alchemy technique. There were more than a dozen disciples in the courtyard. They were all the most outstanding disciples among the young generation of the Mu clan who possessed the talent for alchemy. He might become a great pill refiner in the future. In front of them were a few spirit grass. The elder said, "You have 7 spirit grasses in front of you that have different medicinal properties. I need you to pick 3 of them from among them to refine the most basic pellets, heal pill." Isn't this too simple? Teacher, we are not newbies who have just started cultivating in the way of alchemy. I can even refine heal pill with my eyes closed. Exactly. It's not challenging at all. Heal pill were the lowest level and also the best pellet to refine. They had refined it many times. The elder sneered, "Isn't there a challenge? Very good, then which one of you can refine a highest grade heal pill out of these spirit grass? Is there anyone who can do that?" All of the disciples looked at the spirit grass on the alchemy stage. These spirit grass were all in the most ordinary of spirit grasses, and refining the highest quality pellet was practically impossible. Elder, these spirit grass are all first grade, second grade low grade spirit grass. How can they refine highest grade heal pill? Yeah, that's impossible. No matter what combination it is, it won't do. No one tried. At this moment, Long Fei found the Pill Academy and immediately rushed in. Everyone turned to look at Long Fei. Silence reigned in the courtyard. Long Fei said, I am looking for Elder Xingyun." One of the sharp-eyed disciples looked at the jade tablet on Long Fei's waist and asked, "When did the disciples of the West region have white jade plates?" "Kid, who are you? Looking for the great clan elder? Who are you? White jade plates can only be found in the East region. Moreover, it's a service disciple. Kid, are you a service disciple of the East region? This is not a place where you can come. Hurry up and leave." The elder shouted back, "Kid, hurry up and leave." Long Fei looked at the spirit grass on their alchemy stage and walked forward, saying, "I heard the 2 of you conversing while I was outside. 3 spirit grass refining a highest grade heal pill, right? If I can refine it, can you take me to see Elder Xingyun?" The crowd was taken aback for a moment before they burst into laughter. "Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! With just you. Brat, why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Do you really think that a mere service disciple like you can obtain alchemy? Aren't you taking yourself too seriously?" No one thought highly of Long Fei. Because of Long Fei's identity, Long Fei did not pay attention to the ridicule from the surroundings. Instead, he walked in front of the alchemy stage, swept his eyes across the area, and took a look at the 7 spirit grasses. All these spirit grass could be used to refine heal pill. It was just that. To refine a highest grade heal pill, that was no ordinary feat. Elemental flower, neutral, partial fire. Ocean money grass. All of the attributes of a spirit grass appeared in Long Fei's system, and then, Long Fei's eyes darkened, found it. His right hand moved. Picking up a stalk of spirit grass, the holy source gushed out and directly became a flame that burned. At the same time, Long Fei's hand speed was extremely fast. He placed the other 2 spirit grass into the flames and spirit liquid gushed out and quickly condensed. Half a minute. A pill was born. Long Fei's forehead revealed hot sweat. He looked at the elder and said, "Elder, the highest grade heal pill has been successfully refined. Can you take me to see Elder Xingyun?" The entire courtyard was in complete silence. They all looked at Long Fei without moving. He was stupefied. "Are you a demon?" A single pill was completed in one go. Even pill furnaces were useless. If this wasn't a devil, then what was it? All of them looked at Long Fei with their eyes wide open. The elders dumbly walked to Long Fei's side and took the pills in their hands to carefully examine them. Immediately, the expression in his eyes changed. Several disciples asked, "Elder, are these top-grade pills?" "Teacher, what rank pill is it?" "I don't believe that he will be able to concoct any top-grade pills. This is impossible, the materials are." Without waiting for them to finish speaking, the clan elder suddenly grabbed onto Long Fei's hand and asked excitedly, "Little brother, can you accept me as your disciple? Take me as your disciple. Take me as your disciple. How is it? I beg of you." The clan elder would not let go of Long Fei's hand. As long as Long Fei nodded, he would immediately kneel on the ground and kowtow to Long Fei as his disciple. The surrounding disciples looked at Long Fei with stupefied expressions, their brains completely unable to react. Long Fei said, "Let's talk about the matter of becoming your disciple later. Can you bring me to see Elder Xingyun?" The elder said without hesitation, All right, I will bring you to see him immediately. However, you have to keep your word." Long Fei didn't know how to answer, and mumbled in his heart, "Mu Xingyun is a madman, and this madman is also a madman. You guys train by yourselves." The elder explained as he pulled Long Fei and walked inside. The disciples looked at each other, dumbfounded. "Grand Elder, someone wishes to meet you." The elder walked to the deepest part of the academy, which was also the most dilapidated courtyard. There was only one reason for why this place was so dilapidated. An explosion like this. Mu Xingyun came out of the broken house, his face full of filth, and his hair looked as if it had not been washed in a few years, as he shouted, "Who is it?" "I'm researching on new pills." When he saw Long Fei, his eyes flashed with a bright light. He immediately rushed in front of Long Fei, grabbed his hand, and said, "Kid, you've come at just the right time. Come. Hurry up and give us some pointers." As he said that, he dragged Long Fei into the pill room. The elder who brought Long Fei in was confused, even the great clan elder requested for him to be taught, "Then I'll be taking him in as my master." Within the pill room, it was charred black as if it had been smoked. Mu Xingyun said anxiously, "Brat, how did you refine the pill that can save a person's mind and qi last time? Are these spirit grass materials for refining?" Long Fei took a glance and his heart trembled. The spirit grass in front of him were more or less the same, except that they were missing two spirit grass with similar attributes. Mu Xingyun was truly worthy of being the great elder of the West Region Academy. Long Fei said, "Clan elder, I need the clear sky vine." Mu Xingyun was startled for a moment, and said, "What are you going to do with the sky gourd? It's still just a seedling. I've already checked its medicinal properties, so there's no use." He was a madman, using his own body to nurture a spirit grass. To him, it was mainly to get more materials. He had tested the Tongtian vine several times, but to no avail. He even doubted the words Long Fei had said before. At this time, Long Fei could no longer lie to him, and said honestly, "The heavenly vines have a powerful regeneration ability, I need to use it to save people." Regeneration ability? Damn, power of regeneration? Kid, are you sure? Are you kidding me? This old man has never heard of a spirit grass with the ability to regenerate medicinal pellets in his life. Mu Xingyun was extremely shocked. After all, he had never heard of this medicinal property before. Power of regeneration. If this power was developed and extended, how terrifying would it be? Long Fei said, "I did not lie to you, otherwise I would not have come looking for you. Elder, can you give me some?" Mu Xingyun looked at Long Fei, and it was obvious that Long Fei was very anxious. "Who are you trying to save?" Long Fei shook his head, "I cannot say, this may affect what happens later, but I can guarantee that I am saving Mu Clan's people." Long Fei trusted Mu Xingyun. However, for the sake of safety, he had to be careful. Mu Xingyun said, "All right, I can give you the Tongtian vine, but you have to promise me one condition." Long Fei said without hesitation, "Please speak." Mu Xingyun said, "You taught me to refine pills the kind that will restore my qi. You don't need to teach me now, I can teach you in the future." Long Fei said, "All right, I agree. Mu Xingyun grinned and said, stretch out your palm and cut open a hole. Long Fei did as he was told. And then, Mu Xingyun's palm moved, and the heavenly vine slowly extended out from his palm. The two sprout-like leaves had not changed at all compared to a month ago. Get ready. Focus. As he spoke, Mu Xingyun's palm moved, and directly stuck onto Long Fei's palm. On his palm, fresh blood dripped down onto the tender bud of the sky-piercing vine. In that instant, the system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the heavenly vine. Heh! Elder, I just want a little. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, Mu Xingyun laughed. Since you know about it and understand its uses, it would be best if you could be its master. I don't have anything I can take out either. Take this as a gift from me. Besides, I don't really know how to use the old bones of martial arts training. All of the holy sources I used are for alchemy, so I can't raise it at all. Mu Xingyun said while laughing. Long Fei was grateful in his heart. He was very clear that the power of regeneration and the heavenly vine were supreme divine treasures. Giving it to him like that, Long Fei was grateful but also grateful. Long Fei said heavily, thank you. Mu Xingyun said, thank you my ass. If you have something to do, you should hurry up and do it. After that, teach me how to refine the pill. Long Fei's eyes were a little wet. There were really not many people who treated him this well. Mu Xingyun said, scram quickly, don't disturb my alchemy. Long Fei walked out of the room. Mu Xingyun ordered again, and said, Ling Tong, bring him out of the west region. Elder Tong immediately said, yes. Stepping out of the west region, Long Fei quickly headed towards Mu Changfeng. The golden fur was flying fast. On Golden Head's back, Long Fei moved his idea and sensed that the vine was like two small sprouts. Flower Fairy said, Master, she is still too young, her power is useless. Lord, can you let her go? The Flower Fairy pleaded. Long Fei said, Flower Fairy, the last time you saw her, she was very excited. Now that she's on me, what did you say to her just now? Who is she? Flower Fairy knew that he could not hide it from her, and said, she is called Xiao Lu, my little sister. She is really useless now, can you let her go? I beg of you. Little Green. Then your name is Little Flower. You are all from the botanical world. Long Fei said, you should be clear about my brother's current situation. Even if there is a bit of hope, I cannot give up, so. Little Green waved its tender bud as if it was afraid, but it also seemed to be talking. Long Fei asked, what is she saying? Flower Fairy said, what she is saying is that if you can inject a large amount of power into her, she will be able to grow rapidly. At that time, even if her power grows stronger, you just need to take a little of it, she will not die. Powerful strength. Long Fei muttered, is my entire holy source worth it? Flower Fairy shook his head, your holy source can only be considered normal, it can't be considered strong. F***CK. Are you looking down on me? Long Fei disdained, and said, seems like you are going to use my pubes' power, but the power in my pubes is too strong, would she be unable to endure it? Or did he actually become a true heavenly vine? What was Tong Tian? What was Tong Tian? It went all the way up to the highest point in the sky. If the vine was at its peak, then it was at its peak. Climbing up the vine would allow him to break through the limits of the plane of ancient world, which meant that he would be able to enter the outer realms. Of course. This was at the peak of Manchu, the real mature period. Long Fei did not want to reach the heavens at the moment. He only wanted to save her. Even if he were to use all of his holy sources, it would not be enough to grow another leaf. He could only use the power of the pubes. Huff. Long Fei exhaled lightly, and quickly calmed himself down. It was not easy to release the power of a pubes, it could be said to be extremely masculine. Long Fei had not grasped the opportunity yet, as long as he could not control it properly, the power he released would go berserk, with backlash, he would lose his life. I have to succeed this time. Long Fei muttered in his heart. With a move of the idea, he entered the center of the pubes. The moment the limitless realm's power was released from the idea, the Taiji realm immediately felt it and immediately released its strong power. The power that Long Fei released was like a woman who was completely naked, incomparably enchanting, and incomparably charming. On the other hand, the plane of the pubes, the stars, were like men who had not seen a woman for tens of thousands of years. In an instant, the two forces collided. Boom! An enormous Taiji diagram appeared. It changed bit by bit. Long Fei relied on his senses, and felt that it was right. He released the power of the primal chaos diagram. Rumble, rumble, rumble. An intense explosion sounded out from Long Fei's body. Long Quang immediately said, "Master, are you releasing the power of your pubes?" God's pavilion also noticed it and also said in shock, "Brat, you're not living anymore. The strength in your pubes is not ordinary. You dare to release it before you have fully grasped it, quickly withdraw it." Flower Fairy said, "Master, it's too dangerous." Danger? It was far more than danger. It could be said that Long Fei was taking his life. Let alone being confident, he didn't even have the slightest bit of confidence. However, he had no other choice. If he wanted to save Mu Changfeng and the others, he had to make the Heavenly Rover grow, and only the Heavenly Rover's power of regeneration could save them. Long Fei could only do his best. If he really died, Long Fei still had a life-saving skill. Lifespan +1, however, he would never use it unless he had no other choice. Long Fei did not listen to their persuasion, and continued to release the power of the pubes. It will die, it will live for tens of thousands of years. Bring it on. Rumble. The idea released the power from the pubes. In that instant, Long Fei's palm moved, releasing the Through Heaven's vine, and said, "I've released the power over you. How much you can absorb, and how much you can grow, will all depend on you." Ah! He bellowed. His strength was like an erupting volcano, fiercely erupting outwards. Long Fei's clothes made an explosive sound, his hair was scattered in a bun, and his hair flew up to the sky. His face was bright red. Veins popped out on his forehead. The moment he released his power from the pubes, he felt as if his entire body was going to explode. "I must succeed. I don't want to waste my life +1. Hualala." Under Long Fei's control, the power flowed into his palm. Whether or not it succeeds depends on how much it can absorb. If she was unable to hold on, Long Fei would definitely die. If the clear sky vine was able to hold on and absorb all the energy released by the pubes, it would mean that it was a success. Thus, the key to everything lay in the sky-piercing vine. Boom, boom. When she felt the power gushing towards her, her body trembled. Then, an apocalyptic change started to happen to her body. It was originally just 2 tiny sprouts, but in the blink of an eye it had transformed into a towering tree. Hualala! Hualala! In just a few seconds, the vine had grown to a height of 1,000 meters. An astonishing change. It was like a catalytic injection. Long Fei saw it himself. Holy **T. Is it really that amazing? A few seconds ago, it was just a tiny sprout, but now it had turned into a giant, towering vine. An unspeakable freak. Moreover, the vine was still growing, and the power of the Tai Chi diagram that Long Fei released was also gradually weakening. The power output had lasted for a few seconds, but in that few seconds, Long Fei felt as if it had lasted for several centuries, because he could die at any time. However, thank goodness, he succeeded. Long Fei's body was exhausted, but he had at least survived. The Tongtian vine also absorbed the power, becoming 1,300 meters high. Hee. I've grown taller. I've grown up. Hee. A series of cute and mischievous voices rang out. Long Fei exhaled heavily, and said, "It has evolved, now it can speak human words." Flower Fairy was also overjoyed. "Xiaolu, why aren't you thanking Master? If not for his strength, you would have still cultivated for 103,000 years." Long Fei was secretly speechless. 103,000 years, what kind of concept was that? Isn't the power within the pubes too powerful? No wonder Undead Lord doesn't stop. Fortunately, Long Wushan did not succeed last time. otherwise the consequences would have been disastrous. Long Fei felt that the pubes was becoming more and more powerful. It was not weak at all. It was not a type of attribute. Every plane of his star relate to Dantian contained a powerful force. This was also the second time the energy had fused with his own power. If this was purely the power of the pubes plane, how strong would it be? Long Fei didn't dare imagine. Little Green immediately said obediently, "Thank you, Master." Long Fei said, "You are one of my men. If you follow me, of course you'll have to enjoy yourself. Furthermore, the reason why I poured such a large amount of energy into you is also for the sake of my brother." "How many levels can your regeneration reach?" Xiaolu said, "My current cultivation is equivalent to 103,000 years, and I've broken through 100,000 years, so I can speak. As for the power of regeneration that I possessed before, I feel that it shouldn't be a problem to build an arm or half a leg or something. However, Master, this person must be a living person. A dead person's strength is not good enough for me right now." Long Fei was secretly shocked, and said, "Could it be that you can revive the dead?" Little Green giggled and said, "Of course you can, but I am from the eternal realm." The sound suddenly stopped. Green closed his mouth and didn't dare to say anything else. The eternal realm. The eternal realm. Higher plane. Long Fei felt a sense of familiarity. It was just that Long Fei had no other choice but to save others. Moreover, obviously, Flower Fairy had stopped Xiaolu from continuing. Long Fei did not pursue any further. "Can pubes recover?" Green said seriously, "It shouldn't be difficult." Long Fei said, "That's good. If you have not grown enough, I can release my power once more." Green hurriedly said, "I don't need it right now, but I can't either. I can't digest so much energy in such a short time. I need to digest it all in order to absorb the new energy." A powerful force from a few seconds ago surged into her body, causing her to reach a 0 point in that instant. If it was even a little bit more, she wouldn't be able to withstand it. Moreover, Long Fei was one of them. The next time he would be able to succeed without any mishaps, it would be the same as the last time. He had no confidence at all. He couldn't say that it was because he had found the intersection after succeeding just now, but he didn't find it. As long as there was even the tiniest bit of change in the pubes' power, it was the effect of missing 1,000 miles by a hair's breadth. Rumble. The golden-furred ape landed heavily. "Boss, we're here." Long Fei jumped down from Golden Fur's body and said, "Golden Fur, don't go out to hunt Demon Beast for now. Protect me first, I can't be disturbed right now." The golden-furred ape nodded. Understood. After taking a few steps, his aura completely exploded. Buzz. Within a radius of 10 kilometers, all the wild beasts and demon beast had fled, not even a mosquito. Silence. Long Fei looked at the 7 of them who were lying on the ground. At this moment, there was only a tiny bit of health left over above their heads. Their lives were on the line. Huff. Long Fei took out a few special spirit grasses that he had gathered in the mountains. Little Green. Little Lu said, "Understood." An emerald green leaf landed on the palm of Long Fei's hand. Every single leaf was at the divine level. It was a little scary. Then, Long Fei took out the spirit liquid from the special spirit grasses. This spirit liquid was able to protect the mind of people who were heavily injured. As the spirit liquid entered his body, Mu Changfeng's body trembled slightly. Long Fei said, "Zhongfeng, right now, the pubes is breaking into pieces. I want to repair your pubes. It might be very painful, but you must endure it." Mu Changfeng's body slightly moved again, as if he was responding to Long Fei. Long Fei released the spirit liquid from the emerald green leaf. The spirit liquid was also incomparably green. This was the power of regeneration. Dripping into Mu Changfeng's mouth, Long Fei moved and placed his palm on Mu Changfeng's back. The holy source entered his body and controlled the power of regeneration, allowing it to enter Mu Changfeng's pubes. Ua! Mu Changfeng let out a low groan of pain. His body began to tremble uncontrollably. The pubes had shattered and was being repaired. The pain was indescribable. Those who can't take it will die from the pain. Long Fei could feel his pain. Right now, he could only use the holy source as a form of protection for him and could not share his pain. Ah! Ah! Although he was unconscious, Mu Changfeng continued to cry out in pain. His entire body was drenched in cold sweat. The process of pubes regrowing was a form of torture, and could be said to be even fiercer than the trials of the 18 hells. Hold on, hold on. Long Fei could only encourage her. The pubes grew a little, and grew a little. Mu Changfeng was also walking on the edge of the life and death blade. He was doing his best, too. Suddenly, Long Quang's voice sounded, "Master, his pubes has already recovered to the 4th layer, it's enough to plant a magic seed." Huh! Long Fei was slightly taken aback. You want them to become bedeviled? Long Quangdao, their cultivation has been crippled, even if the pubes recovers, it will still take them another 20 years before they can cultivate again. Furthermore, after the pubes breaks, I'm afraid that they won't be able to step into the realm of ancient powers anymore. If you want them to recover, or even step into the realm of ancient powers faster, being bewitched is their only option. He was reminding Long Fei. Because this is the best time to do it. Mu Changfeng knew who crippled his cultivation and his pubes, and his heart was filled with hatred. Hatred was the most powerful force capable of bedeviling demons. As long as the magic seed was planted, it would quickly grow and expand. The stronger the hatred, the stronger the demon. Whether it is a demonic cultivator or a traditional righteous martial arts training, they are both a type of cultivation. The reason why they are called demonic is because demonic cultivators go to extremes. One's true heart cannot be devoured. Demonic cultivators, martial arts training are all the same. Long Quang explained. He knew very well. Right now, Mu Changfeng's only choice was to become a demon and cultivate. Otherwise, pubes would just be a cripple once it recovered. Long Fei secretly locked the space between his brows and said, I am unable to make a decision on this matter. I must ask him myself. Although he was their boss, this was related to their fate, and Long Fei couldn't decide for them. Zhongfeng, your cultivation has been crippled, and even if the pubes is repaired, it would still take dozens of years to cultivate back, and your cultivations might not be too high in this life. I have a way to change that. Enter the path of the demonic path, demonic cultivator. If you agree, then just move your fingers. If you don't agree, then don't move your fingers. Although Mu Changfeng couldn't speak, he could still hear what Long Fei was saying. Almost. Just as Long Fei finished speaking, his fingers kept moving. Long Fei said, All right, since you have made your choice, I will begin to plant a demon seed in your mind. It will devour and absorb your hatred and will frantically grow. What you need to do is to maintain your mind and not be controlled. As soon as he finished speaking, Long Fei said to Long Quang, You can begin. With a slight movement, a strand of power passed through Long Fei's palm and entered Mu Changfeng's body. A few seconds later, Mu Changfeng's eyes suddenly flashed with a ray of dark red light, and his pupils became dark red, as the aura around his body also underwent a drastic change. A few minutes later, Mu Changfeng seemed to not be able to feel the pain. A few more minutes. The pubes was only restored 80% of the time. Originally, he could repair all of them, but Mu Changfeng had chosen to repair 80% of them, because he wanted to remember the pain of the pubes. Pain breeds hatred. Hatred could nourish demons. Since he had entered the demonic path, he would wholeheartedly cultivate. Wake up. Mu Changfeng knelt in front of Long Fei and said, Boss, thank you. He didn't know how to thank Long Fei. Long Fei asked, Who injured you? Mu Changfeng clenched his fists tightly, his dark red eyes exuding an ice-cold killing intent as he said, Mu Yuting. It's him. It's him. Long Fei was slightly shocked. He never thought that it would be Mu Yuting. At least. The first impression Mu Yuting gave Long Fei was not bad. At that time, whenever Mu Changsheng wanted to attack Mu Yun, he would attack him several times. He did not expect that Mu Yuting would actually kill Mu Changfeng and the others. Seems like the Mu clan's water is deeper than I thought. Long Fei secretly thought. Although it was Mu Yuting who had done the deed, the one behind the scenes was definitely Mu Hertai. And only he would make a move against Mu Changfeng's group of 7. Because Mu Changfeng and the others represented grandfather Mu Tianhe, and were his direct disciples. Furthermore, they were his future successors in the Mu clan. Mu Hertai would definitely take action against them. While killing them, he did not forget to suppress Mu Tianhe, who was in closed-door cultivation. The humiliation of Mu Changfeng's group of 7 would definitely affect Mu Tianhe's influence. Mu Changfeng clenched his fists tightly and said, "I want revenge, I want revenge." Long Fei comforted her, "Don't worry about revenge. Calm down and think about why Mu Yuting attacked you. I'll go save the 6 of them. I wonder what they will choose." Mu Changfeng looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, are our injuries the same?" Long Fei nodded his head, "It's all because of my cultivation that was crippled, the pubes shattered." Mu Changfeng's eyes were filled with hostility, and he said, "Mu Yuting, you're too ruthless, aren't you?" The hatred in his heart grew even stronger. The magic seed moved quietly. And then, Mu Changfeng said, "Boss, you don't need to ask them, they will make the same decision as me. No one would give up if they became strong. Right now, they wanted to become stronger than ever, so what if they become possessed? As long as they could take revenge and become stronger, they would be able to withstand the pain no matter how much they had to endure." Huff. Long Fei exhaled lightly as he thought in his heart, "I wonder if your grandfather will agree to your choice." "Ari. Whatever. I can't let you become useless people." Long Fei focused and started to save her. Another piece of leaf from a vine that stretched through the skies landed on Long Fei's palm. The emerald green leaf emitted a purple divine light, and a very strong power surged within. Long Fei followed through with the method he had set at the beginning. 2 hours later, the 6 of them woke up. Moreover, all of them were possessed, their pupils turning dark red, and the aura emanating from their bodies becoming extremely violent. In particular, their minds had undergone a huge change. "Mu Yuting. You bastard, I'll kill you today. Let's go. I must skin him today." All of them were filled with anger. Their eyes flashed with a cold red light, and their bodies were filled with a strong murderous intent. The magic seed began to take root in their minds, frantically absorbing the hatred that burst out from them. This was the best nourishment for the magic seed. They also knew that they were possessed. He didn't have the slightest bit of resentment towards Long Fei either. Moreover, their cultivation bases were the same as before, maybe even a bit higher. Long Fei looked at their furious faces and asked, "What realm is Mu Yuting in?" Mu Changfeng replied, "Howren realm. As for whether it's a middle stage or high stage, I don't know." "Howren stage, then are you 7 together as opponents?" Long Fei asked again. The 7 of them fell silent. Although the 7 of them combined had the power of an array, Mu Yuting would not give them the chance to activate it. Thus, they were no match for him. Although they were possessed, they were not crazy people who had chi deviation. All of them were stunned by Long Fei's question. Mu Changfeng shook his head. "The 7 of us combined are not Mu Yuting's match, but this enmity is." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei asked again, "Then do you know why Mu Yuting attacked you?" "He crippled your cultivation, so at least he had a reason for breaking your pubes, right?" "What is the motive?" Mu Changfeng's pupils constricted. He was thinking about it just now. However, he could not understand. Why would Mu Yuting, who was usually good to them, make a move on them? What was it for? Mu Changfeng really couldn't understand. Long Fei said, "Since you do not know, then what is the meaning of going to take revenge like this?" Mu Changfeng asked, "Boss, then what do you think we should do?" "Yeah, boss, we'll listen to you. You saved us twice, and our lives are yours." Long Fei looked at them and pondered for a moment, then said, "He crippled your cultivation and pubes, so he didn't kill you. Furthermore, with the strength of your bodies, even if you were severely injured, you would definitely think of returning to Mu clan." Mu Yuting definitely thought the same. "So, let's do it. You all pretended to be heavily injured and returned to the northern region of the Mu clan. Only then would you all know the true purpose of meeting Mu Yuting. Long Fei said indifferently. All right, I'll listen to you. Mu Changfeng also wanted to know what exactly was going on. Long Fei said, you should act a bit more. Don't worry, we will definitely not let them see through us. Mu Changfeng was still confident in this point. Long Fei said, also, do not let them find out about the matter of you two going into the path of demon. Understood. The 7 of them nodded their heads heavily. Long Fei said, all right, then go. With your speed of being severely injured, you should only be able to reach Mu clan tomorrow. Mu Changfeng replied, understood. And then, the 7 of them pretended to be on the verge of death. Their stomachs, mouths, and chests were all covered in blood, making them look like movie emperors. Long Fei looked at them and said in his heart, Grandfather, there is someone inside Mu clan who wants to deal with you. If you go into closed-door cultivation, I will clean up the mess for you. But Long Fei looked at the depths of the forest. Right now, he was not only worried about the internal conflicts within the Mu clan, he was also worried about the Undead Lord. According to the information provided by Undead Ghost, he should be at God-Living Mountain by now. It was just that. He did not know why Mu clan had not been able to receive any news. This was very strange. Could it be that there is a spy in Mu clan? Or could it be that the traitor is Mu Tianhe? Mu Tianhe is helping an outsider clean up grandfather's people? Long Fei made wild guesses. There was still one more undead ghost that hadn't returned. Now that Mu Changfeng and the rest were here, they probably wouldn't be able to come back until they found the undead lord. Let's not worry about it for now. Let's settle the internal conflict in Mu clan first. Long Fei calmed his heart. It was just that settling the internal conflicts within the Mu clan was not a simple matter. Was currently only at the first stage of the everlasting realm. This realm could be considered tyrannical in the eastern district, but in the northern district, any disciple could possibly be stronger than him, let alone an elder. Mu clan was also an ancient family, and there were many almighty powerhouses. Mu Hertai was an ancient almighty powerhouse. If he was really the mastermind, then Long Fei would definitely have a lot of opponent. He still had to level up. Had a huge headache when it came to leveling up. Had a huge headache when it came to leveling up. Right now, he was at the first stage of Limitless, so ordinary demon beast in God-Living Mountain would definitely not be able to satisfy his leveling needs. Even if he killed a 4th stage demon beast, the experience he would get now was only a few hundred points. Long Fei was very dissatisfied with such speed. However, other than the God-Living Mountain, was there any other good place to level up? Long Fei couldn't imagine. Moreover, tomorrow, Mu Changfeng would return to the North region. If the person who dealt with grandfather was really Mu Hertai, would he be able to be his match? Level 1 everlasting, even if there were gods Chopes, they wouldn't be able to kill Mu Hertai. Not to mention that there were still many elders around him. Most likely, all of the elders in the Judgment Pavilion were his people. A headache. It really gives me a headache. Long Fei felt very uncomfortable. If others knew that he broke through to the Limitless from God's state in a month, they would probably beat him to death. Other than leveling up, Long Fei still had one more thing to do. Identity. Mu Hertai was the acting patriarch of the Mu clan, and all the authority in the Mu clan was in his hands. If she wanted to suppress him, then she had to have a higher authority than him. Grandfather Mu Tianhe. Immediately, Long Fei asked, Zhongfeng, my grandfather. Where is your master? I want to see him. Mu Changfeng hesitated for a few seconds, but said, Boss, my master is at the floating cliff. He is currently in closed-door cultivation. I'm afraid you will not be able to see him. Hanging cliff? Long Fei muttered. Mu Changfeng said, only the 7 of us know where master has gone into closed-door cultivation. You are the 8th person. He does not wish to be disturbed. This time, Grandpa is closed off to death. They did not know about Mu Tianhe's injuries. In the entire Mu clan, most likely only Long Fei knew about this. Mu Tianhe could only say that it was a closed-door cultivation, to hide things from others. However, confining his life and death meant that Mu Tianhe was unable to break through, which meant that he would not be able to come out. Long Fei didn't say any more, and said, I understand, it's best if I can see them. It doesn't matter if I can't. But I'll go too. You guys should hurry to the North District tomorrow. Don't act rashly before I show up. Do you understand? Long Fei was worried that Mu Changfeng and the others wouldn't be able to suppress the fire. Their 7 strong men of North Region had Mu Tianhe's protection and had been in the Mu clan for so many years, but they had never been at a disadvantage before. Now that their cultivation had been crippled, their pubes had been destroyed and their anger had reached the skies, if they returned to the Mu clan and found out who the mastermind was, they would definitely not be able to hold back. Mu Changfeng said, We will remember. You have to remember that I'm not coming. Even if you know the purpose of crippling you, even if you know who the mastermind is, you have to endure it. If I come, you can do whatever you want. Long Fei warned again. Mu Changfeng also nodded. All right, I will remember. All right, you guys go and prepare. The 7 of them left. Long Fei stood in place and asked, Dragon Quang, when will they be able to cultivate a demonic attack? Mu Changfeng and the rest of the 7 had only planted their own demonic seeds, and had not truly stepped into the demonic way. Even if he were to cultivate now, it would be useless. Long Quangdao, the magic seed has yet to sprout, so the magic attack cannot be cultivated. They still need hatred, a greater hatred, but it should be soon. When their magic seeds sprout, then even if they become demonic cultivators, you don't have to worry about the cultivation of their magic arts. When their magic seeds sprout, then even if they become demonic cultivators, you don't have to worry about the cultivation of their magic arts. Everything had been arranged by the dragon. Now, they were waiting for the magic seed in Mu Changfeng's mind to sprout. Long Fei said, There won't be any danger, right? There must be dangers. The reason why it's called demonic art is because it is more dangerous than ordinary cultivation techniques. However, they could even withstand the pain of the pubes ripping apart and recovering, so releasing the devil arts shouldn't be a problem. Long Quang answered, Master, you can't worry about them. I know you don't believe in fate, but everyone has their own destiny. Life and death are decided by fate. Long Fei nodded and said, I understand. And then, Long Fei moved, Goldfur. Boom. The giant golden-furred ape heavily landed, directly beside Long Fei. Long Fei leapt up and landed behind the golden-furred man, saying, Go to the hanging cliff. At the same time, the idea moved, making God's pavilion call back the undead ghost who was lurking in the darkness. Only one undead ghost was searching outside. As long as Undead Lord appeared in God Living Mountain, he would definitely be able to find him. The Undead Lord was simply too strong, and Long Fei had no other choice. The only thing he could do now was to settle the internal affairs of the Mu clan first. Boom. Boom. The golden hair leaped continuously, disappearing without a trace in the span of half a breath. An hour later, Long Fei arrived at the floating cliff. A cliff that hung in the middle of a cliff was very special. It was also extremely hidden. If he hadn't been here, he wouldn't have been able to find it. Huff. Grandfather, are you okay? Long Fei said softly as he jumped down from the golden hare's back, walking towards the hanging cliff. The hanging cliff was not big, but rather very small. There were barely 2 people standing on the entire cliff. It looked like a protruding rock, and this place could undergo closed-door cultivation. Grandpa is in this place. Long Fei was puzzled, flying to the edge of the cliff. Not to mention a cave, he couldn't even find a single crack in this place. Just a stone. Did I go to the wrong place? Long Fei went around it again, and suddenly realized that there was an extremely small door on top of the stone, and on the door there were 3 words carved on top of the door, hanging cliff. It's really here. Grandfather, are you inside? Long Fei couldn't help but shout out. Immediately, the door slowly opened. How can I enter such a small door? Just as Long Fei was thinking about these, the door seemed to be opening endlessly, opening, opening, and reopening. In the end, it became incomparably huge. Long Fei was completely shocked. Is this the power of space? Xiao Fei, come in. Mu Tianhe said in an aged voice. Long Fei also walked in. When he walked in, the door began to shrink and finally returned to its original shape. Mu clan. Mu Yuting said, Patriarch, young Master Mu and Mu Ru have been settled as well. Yes. Mu Hertai nodded his head in satisfaction. Now that the 7 strong men of North Region was crippled, the entire North Region of the Mu clan was filled with his people. It could be said. The current him in Mu clan was truly able to cover the sky with one hand. However, he had a nail in his heart. Mu Tianhe. Mu Yuting said, Patriarch, since you know that Mu Tianhe is cultivating at the hanging cliff, do you want to? The corner of Mu Hertai's mouth hooked up coldly, and said, no rush. 7 strong men of North Region has yet to return to the North Region. I want to use them to discredit Mu Tianhe. I want everyone to know that the people Mu Tianhe chose are a bunch of trash. When his reputation is in ruins, it will be the time to execute him. Ha ha ha. Mu Hertai laughed out wildly. Floating cliff. Floating cliff. In a secret place in God-living mountain. This place was also an unknowable place. This stone had existed since the birth of the ancient world. It was because of its existence that the Mu clan became stronger, and became the ancient family. Mu clan's spatial energy was also cultivated out from this rock. It could be said, without this floating stone, there would be no Mu clan. But only the patriarch of the Mu clan knew of this. The people of this world only knew of the hanging cliff and not what was inside. Even Mu Hertai didn't know. He had only found the hanging cliff, which was a place of bitter cultivation. It was of no other use to him. The floating stone was a special space. After Long Fei stepped in, he felt his body shrinking non-stop, and in the end, fell onto the ground like an ant. Raising his head, what he saw was an endless dark night sky, boundless and vast. Long Fei knew that it wasn't that he had become small, but the world inside the stone had grown larger. Is this the power of spatial transfer? Damn. He's truly amazing. He's truly amazing. Long Fei could not help but sigh secretly. His heart was in shock. Then he looked ahead and shouted, Grandfather. A voice came from the darkness. Stay where you are. After he finished speaking, a white light flashed beneath Long Fei's feet. Buzz. His body instantly entered a special space, and before he could even react, he appeared in front of an altar in less than half a breath. An old man with white hair sat on the altar. It was Long Fei's grandfather, Mu Tianhe. It was just that. Compared to the first time he had met her, Mu Tianhe seemed to have aged a little, and his face was slightly pale. He was still heavily injured. If not for his worry for Long Fei, he definitely would not have allowed Long Fei to enter. Seeing Long Fei, Mu Tianhe said, Child, how did you know I was here? What are you doing here? Long Fei walked onto the altar and saw the jar beside his grandfather. It was precisely used by him to hold the golden-furred spirit blood, and thought to himself, if I want to use the fairy beast as a guide, then I must be seriously injured. Long Fei answered, Grandfather, it was Mu Changfeng and the others who told me. Zhongfeng? How do you know him? Mu Tianhe stared blankly for a moment. He knew that Long Fei was in the eastern district and Mu Changfeng was in the northern district. There was a hint of blame in his words. This was also worrying about Long Fei. It has to be said that Mu Wanna wasn't welcomed in the Mu clan. He even scoffed. Long Fei replied, No, because I saved 7 people of Changfeng. They only told me because they knew I had urgent business with you. You saved them. Mu Tianhe was even more shocked now. She looked at Long Fei. His eyes flashed as he said excitedly, In just a short span of time, you have already reached the infinite realm. Ha ha ha. Your mother once said that you would be a genius, a peerless genius. At that time, I didn't believe it, but now, in the entire ancient world, who can compare to you? To be able to reach the infinity realm from the god state in 1 month, if you had not been standing in front of me, I would not have believed that, even at the time of the birth of ancient world, only Long Batian, the ancestor of your dragon clan, could achieve such a feat. Mu Tianhe was incomparably excited. He never thought that Long Fei's cultivation speed would actually be this fast. It was too valiant. Long Beishan's cultivation is also very fast. Long Fei asked. Mu Tianhe said, of course, the reason he can become the #1 cultivator in ancient world is because his cultivation speed is incomparable to others. He only took half a month's time to go from God's state to the realm of the greatest powers in the ancient times. At that time, our old patriarch was still a God's state. Long Batian is a complete pervert. These things were all recorded in the Mu clan. After all, Mu clan was also a family that had existed since the ancient times. 1.5 months. From the God's state to the ancient powers, is this speed like a rocket? Long Fei was in disbelief. Even the most powerful of geniuses would not be able to reach this degree of speed. Cultivating was a step by step, and going too fast was not beneficial. Most cultivators would break through a level and stabilize themselves before breaking through to a higher level. Long Beishan's speed. Did he not need to stabilize his cultivation at all? Or could it be? Long Fei thought of himself and muttered in his heart, Long Batian is also a system owner? Impossible, right? Without waiting for Long Fei to think further, Mu Tianhe asked, even if you saved Mu Changfeng and the rest of the 7, they still wouldn't tell you where I am. Long Fei didn't think about Long Batian anymore. Instead, he smiled and said, I saved them twice. Twice. I told them to kill the fairy beast at the bottom of the waterfall. Then this fairy beast, spirit blood. Mu Tianhe looked at Long Fei again, and suddenly understood, and asked, you were the one who gave the fairy beast spirit blood? Long Fei replied honestly, yes, when I found out that their master was you, I was worried. I wanted to come and see you very much, but I was afraid that I would disturb your seclusion. Also, the last war beast that Mu Changfeng and the others hunted the fairy beast became, this jar's spirit blood was voluntarily released by him. Grandfather, are these spirit blood enough? If it's not enough, I'll give you a bit more. He's near the hanging cliff. Long Fei said. Mu Tianhe acted as if he was listening to a fairy tale. He was completely stupefied. His heart was incomparably shocked. If Long Fei wasn't his nephew, he definitely wouldn't have believed it. Thinking about the matter of Long Fei being his nephew, Mu Tianhe couldn't help but burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Good boy. Grandfather was wrong to blame you just now. Ha ha ha. My nephew, ha ha ha. He was as happy as a 3-year-old who got a candy. He was truly happy. It had been a long time since he had been this happy. To be able to make an old man happy, Long Fei also followed and laughed. After laughing for a few minutes, he continued to cough and stopped. Only then did Mu Tianhe ask, oh yes, you said that you have something to talk to me about. What is it? Long Fei said, Undead Lord is coming to the God-living mountain. Mu Tianhe was not surprised at all, and said indifferently, with his sinister and ruthless nature, he will definitely come to the Mu clan to seek revenge. I will return the favor. The moment the Undead Lord comes, the entire Mu clan will immediately go into seclusion at Turtle Mountain. Long Fei said, there is also a problem inside the Mu clan. Huh? Mu Tianhe was startled. What happened? Long Fei said, Mu Changfeng's group of 7 has had their cultivation destroyed, and Pubi's crippled as well. But you don't have to worry, I have saved them, only has allowed them to step into the path of evil. Long Fei did not dare to hide the truth. He couldn't hide it from his grandfather. He had to know about this matter after all. Mu Tianhe's eyes also tightened. Devil Dao? Seeing his grandfather's gaze, Long Fei's heart trembled. Seeing his grandfather's gaze, Long Fei's heart trembled. Demonic cultivators were despised by others. Many families in ancient family hated demonic cultivators. Mu Changfeng was grandfather's disciple, so he could step into the ranks of the ancient almighty powerhouse within the next 1,000 years. How could he accept this? Long Fei said, at that time I had no other choice. If they had entered the demonic Dao, their cultivation would have been lost, and their talent would have been restricted. I could only Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, Mu Tianhe smiled and said, "Silly boy, no matter what you do, grandfather won't be angry. Because you're my nephew. And you are saving my disciple." Mu Tianhe was not angry, and laughed happily. Long Fei was also shocked. Mu Tianhe said, "They have their cultivation and pubes crippled, but they are not dead." Long Fei nodded, "Amen, I think they are using Mu Changfeng's group of 7 to belittle you, and let everyone in Mu clan know that your chosen disciple is just so useless." Mu Tianhe let out a light breath of air, looked at the dark night sky, and muttered, He Tai, looks like you still haven't let bygones be bygones. I've already said that it's a closed-door training, can't you wait a few more years? Do you think I can live this time? Sigh. Mu Tianhe did not have the intention to pass the patriarch's seat to Mu Hertai this time. He just didn't have a surface. In fact, he clearly knew that the injuries he had received this time was too heavy, and he had no way of recovering. He could not escape, and would end up like the ancestor of the Mu clan, dying inside the floating stone to release the power in his body, causing the spatial energy in the floating stone to become slightly stronger. But now, Mu Tianhe sighed in his heart. However, there was nothing he could do now. It had only been a month and the Mu clan had changed. This showed that Mu Hertai had been planning for the past few years, and most likely, the people in the northern region were all Mu Hertai's people. The Judgment Pavilion must be doing the same. Even if he were to emerge from seclusion now, he would probably be ousted by the Judgment Pavilion. Unless they suppressed it with force. However, his cultivation had yet to recover to the first layer, and he was also injured, so he was no match for him at all. Coming out of seclusion was completely useless. Mu Tianhe said, "Xiao Fei, don't worry about anything, leave Mu clan as soon as possible, the further the better." Right now, he was not worried about anyone, he was only worried about Long Fei. His nephew's place in his heart was so important that he was his daughter's only son. Long Fei said, "Grandfather, this is your family, I am your nephew, how can I watch him die? And it's because of me." Mu Tianhe said, "If Mu Hertai doesn't listen to me, then Mu clan will definitely be massacred by Undead Lord, and even God Living Mountain will be destroyed. Undead Lord is too powerful." Long Fei said, "So I want to control the Mu clan as soon as possible and let him hide in Turtle Mountain." Mu Tianhe said, "Mu Hertai has grasped onto the position with great difficulty, he will definitely not give up, and with my current condition, I will not be able to help you. Xiao Fei, we still have time right now. Hurry up and leave this place. After leaving the God Living Mountain, head towards the western polar region. That is the Bedlam lands, the starting point of the ancient world. Entering there will be difficult for the Undead Lord to find you. Don't worry about Mu clan." Mu Tianhe was very clear about the current situation. Mu Hertai would never enter Turtle Mountain. Long Fei was also not Mu Hertai's match when he left. One must know that Mu Hertai was an ancient almighty powerhouse, and not only him, there were several in Mu clan. If they stayed, they would only be killed by the Undead Lord. The only way was to leave. The farther the better. To Long Fei, the most western primal chaos grounds was the best place for him. Primal chaos. His aura would be concealed, and inside was a muddled world. It would be even harder to find a person there than to find a needle in a haystack. However, Long Fei did not want to give up. This guy was a boss. It was a super boss. Long Fei was simply unwilling to give up. Thus, Long Fei said, "Grandfather, I need your identity jade token." Mu Tianhe said, "It's useless, even if I am to exit now, I will not be able to suppress Mu Hertai, he will definitely not treat you seriously, if you reveal your identity, he will probably immediately kill you. Xiao Fei, you must not reveal your identity, do you understand? Right now, I wonder how many people in ancient world want to kill you. Once your identity is exposed, I'm afraid you will never have another peaceful day ahead of you." Long Fei said, "Grandfather, is there no other way?" Mu Tianhe said, "Even though your cultivation speed is very fast, your current cultivation level is still too low. Just listen to me." Without waiting for Mu Tianhe to finish speaking, Long Fei asked, "Grandfather, this floating rock contains a huge world inside of it. Mu Tianhe said, this floating rock was discovered by Mu Clan, and because this rock allowed us Mu Clan to grasp the power of space, if one were to say whether or not this rock has a special space, what is the special space you speak of? The Mu Clan had not developed much of the world inside the floating stone. They hadn't even been to many places. Their control of space could be considered the strongest in the ancient world, but in the entire universe, it could not be described with the word weak. It was very, very weak. Long Fei asked, a place that must be filled with demon beast. A place filled with demon beast. Mu Tianhe looked at Long Fei and said, there is, but the demon beast inside are too dangerous, and are not ancient world's demon beast at all. Their blood vein are all special, and the patriarch of the Mu clan had once entered there. If he did not grasp the power of space, he would probably die inside. Long Fei's eyes released a gold light, and said, I want to go to such a perverted place. Suddenly, Long Fei was as if he had discovered a new continent. He was excited. The demon beast of the god-living mountain had already made it impossible for him to level up in a short period of time. He had to have an even stronger demon beast to kill it. If the space that my grandfather mentioned still had demon beastess, then it would definitely be the best place to level up. If those demon beast were still foreign demon beast. Wow. Long Fei could not help but gulp down his saliva. As long as he had enough demon beast to hunt, let alone half a month's time, it would be enough for him to enter the realm of an ancient almighty being. Long Batian leveled up quickly. I can do the same. If the demon beast in the spatial space had a lot of experience, Long Fei could break Long Batian's record. One had to know that he had not even cultivated for a month and a half. No way. It's too dangerous. Mu Tianhe immediately said. Long Fei said, Grandfather, believe me, I will definitely live, and this is probably the only way to save Mu clan. Mu Tianhe looked at Long Fei. After a long time, Mu Tianhe said solemnly, then promise me, the situation isn't right, we will leave immediately. Long Fei smiled excitedly, and said, all right. The more abnormal a place was, the more Long Fei liked it. The more abnormal a place was, the more Long Fei liked it. This was a little special. There was no helping it, a perverted place like this could not satisfy him. He could only quickly level up in perverted areas. As long as he could level up, he would go there no matter how perverted it was. Mu Tianhe took out a purple stone, and there were some inscriptions on the stone that Long Fei could not understand. This is a dimensional teleportation stone, if you crush it, you will be teleported out. Xiao Fei, remember, don't try to be brave. Long Fei nodded his head, Grandfather, I will remember. Right. Grandfather, what do you need to heal your injuries? This was what Long Fei was worried about. Mu Tianhe smiled benevolently and said, my injuries are fine, you don't have to worry about me. At this time, Long Quang suddenly said, your grandfather's 3 gods were all injured. Long Fei's heart trembled, and said, 3 gods. Long Quangdao, divine sense, spiritual sense, and divine soul are known as the 3 gods. The last time we faced the undead lord's flying fire crow, it should have been forcefully withstood. Long Fei asked, is there a way? Long Quang shook his head, the 3 gods are seriously injured, even with the heavenly vine, it's hard to cure them, unless you can find something that can replace the 3 gods. I don't know if there's anything in ancient world that can replace the 3 gods. Mu Tianhe's injuries were too severe. This was not something that could be cured with normal medicinal herbs. The fairy beast also only provided him with a little bit of profound qi. After recovering for a bit, it was basically impossible for him to recover. This was also the reason why Mu Tianhe said that they would close their doors for life and death. He was well aware of his injuries. The moment he entered the floating cliff, he had already thought about it. If he were to die here, he would use his own energy to make the floating cliff stronger. Find something better to replace the 3 gods. Long Fei frowned. At this moment, the system suddenly sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the quest Save Mu Tianhe. Task level, S task time, unlimited task reward, unknown. You triggered the quest. Long Fei was not shocked because of the mission's trigger, but because the reward for the mission was unknown. This had never happened before. What was going on? Unknown reward. That means we can calculate it when the time comes. Ding. Do you accept? Long Fei moved and said, accepted. Even if this mission didn't have any rewards, he would still accept it. This was his grandfather, and even if there was a chance, he would still work hard. Child, are you ready? Mu Tianhe said softly. Long Fei replied, The aura on Mu Tianhe's body trembled slightly, his 2 fingers quickly formed seals, and one rune after another dropped down from his body. Within a few seconds. Buzz. With a flash of white light, Long Fei disappeared from his spot. Mu Tianhe also spat out a mouthful of blood, his face turning even paler. Releasing any form of spatial force was an extremely difficult task for him right now. Seeing Long Fei disappear, Mu Tianhe let out a heavy sigh. The 3 gods were heavily injured. I'm afraid that I have reached the end of my life. Wana, where are you? I've seen your child. He's very good, even better than I imagined. Daddy feels honored for you. But I can't help him with my old bones. Sigh. I hope that his future path will be smooth and healthy. Mu Tianhe closed his eyes. His breathing became very light. The power of the spatial energy that he had released earlier had burned all of the time he had spent in meditation for the past month. His lifespan was about to run out. And then there was Long Fei. A white light flashed for another half a second. He appeared in another space. The power of space is amazing. If I can control the power of space, then where would I go? Long Fei sighed at the mysticality of the power of space. However, at this moment, boom! An incomparably sharp slash came crashing down. Long Fei felt a chill on his back, and his body sank slightly as he felt a strong pressure. Long Quang also immediately warned, Master, be careful. Behind you. Long Fei's reaction speed was also godlike, his body rushing forward, suddenly moving sideways. Shua. The force of the slash landed, almost touching Long Fei's face. It cut down, a small crack appearing on the ground. If the slash landed, Long Fei would probably be split into 2. A layer of dense sweat seeped out of Long Fei's forehead. Looking carefully, he asked, Nothing? It was completely blank. Forget about demon beastess, they didn't even have any beast hair on them. It was very strange. That's not right. Long Fei's pupils contracted as he felt a trace of killing intent. He was extremely sensitive to killing intent. He could feel it as long as it was there, and the killing intent was emitted right in front of him. Moreover, his view was quickly confirmed. Long Fei dodged one slash, and followed up with another. Shua. A force that was like a half-moon was visible to the naked eye. It directly descended from the sky and slashed at Long Fei. This slash was twice as fast as the one just now. What the F***ck? Long Fei cursed angrily. With a move of his right hand, he summoned his Dong Huang sword and shouted, God's sword spirit. The sword chi condensed. It instantly became a sword. In that instant, Long Fei released all of his limitless realm power. Both of his hands gripped onto his sword, and slashed at the released cut chi. It was tough. The 2 forces collided. Rumble. Long Fei's body was instantly sent flying. The moment the 2 forces clashed, Long Fei's sword chi was penetrated, with only a slight sound of impact. And then the power pierced through. He had never seen such power before. Damn. What? Awesome. The instant Long Fei landed, his gaze locked onto that spot. Immediately, his footsteps moved as he quickly launched an attack. Bang, bang, bang. A series of trampling sounds appeared on the ground, and in an instant, it reached the location that Long Fei had locked onto. 8 tyrant fists. Bam. The punch landed. At the same time, a monster appeared in their line of sight, as if it had broken out of invisibility. The moment Long Fei saw it, his eyes flashed with a trace of excitement, steel-blooded warrior, and the way it looks in the movies. He wore a suit of armor and a helmet. Beneath the helmet was the face of an alien outsider. It was extremely ugly, with a sharp steel blade attached to his waist. The steel knife was not ordinary. The body was revealed, as was the bloody groove on the top of his head. 100,000 HP. The last strike only produced a few hundred points of damage. Then this demon beast must have a lot of experience, right? Long Fei smirked and quickly rushed forward. He did not care about the steel-blooded warrior or any other living thing. What he wanted now was experience. What he wanted was to level up. Quickly level up. Experience is everything. Experience is everything. Experience was an upgrade. Upgrade was power. As long as one was strong enough, they could kill the Emperor Xian. The Death Emperor Xian was the reason for Long Fei's visit to the divine space. Thus, at this moment, Long Fei did not hesitate at all. He needed to quickly end the battle. God's Chop. Instant kill skill. As long as it was within the killing range, everything could be killed. Whether it was demon beast, expert, or foreign creatures, it was the same. It could instantly kill anyone within its range. Ding. Target locked. Ding. Are you releasing it? Release. Long Fei held onto the Dong Huang sword with both of his hands and slashed at it. The Ironblood warrior did not stay where he was, he also released an even more powerful slash towards Long Fei. This slash carried a blood-red glow. Rumble. The two slashes collided once more. Long Fei had a lot of confidence in the God's Chop. As long as it was locked on, no one would be able to escape. However, right now, he was not worried about the God's Chop, but about himself. If that power pierced through the God's Chop again, then his own little life. When Long Fei released his slash, he immediately prepared himself. The two forces collided. At this moment, something strange happened. Ding. God's Chop experience plus 1,000 points. Suddenly, a system announcement sounded out. This made Long Fei a little confused. God's Chop can also gain experience. Damn, why didn't I notice this before? Could it be that the God's Chop can level up? If it leveled up, then wouldn't that increase the area of effect for insta-kill? Thinking of all these, Long Fei became extremely excited. The higher the level, the more invincible his God's Chop is. He could actually gain EXP now? Was it because he had absorbed a sufficiently powerful slashing force? The two sides clashed. This time, the demon beast's power did not pierce through, but was completely absorbed by the God's Chop. That fellow was extremely shocked and stood rooted to the spot. At the same time, the God's Chop's power fell. Rumble. The wound on his head started bleeding. 99,989 inch. They did not die instantly, but they had hit an extremely violent number. Furthermore, Long Fei had dealt a few hundred points of damage with one strike of the 8 Tyrant Fist. Thus, this demon beast's health point had turned into 0. Dead. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing outsiders for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Alien God Soul. Huh. 2 notifications sounded. Long Fei was shocked. 1,000,000 experience points. What a lie. Isn't this experience too great? Long Fei was so excited that he almost drooled. Ha ha ha. I'm rich, I'm rich. Apart from experience. And there was one more item which had dropped. The soul of the alien outsider. Soul. One of the 3 gods. Long Fei immediately asked, Long Quang, why don't you show us the soul of this foreign race as a substitute? Long Quang carefully examined it and said, Master, this is a foreign object. I don't know if it can be used in my stead. However, Old Man Mu's cultivation is at the peak of an ancient supreme expert and his soul is very powerful. If he wants to replace Old Man Mu, he needs to find a soul that is strong enough. It will be very helpful to Old Man Mu. In short, this fellow's soul wasn't strong enough. Mu Tianha's level was too high, so if they wanted to help him, they would need to acquire a higher level of divine soul. Long Fei replied, Understood. This is only the first demon beast. Since there was a demon beast in this special space, then there was something else. If there was anything else, then there must be a boss. He just needed to kill the boss. The three gods would definitely be able to give it to grandfather. Thinking of this, Long Fei became excited again. However, he realized this now. He had to rely on his god's chop, but his god's chop's cooldown time was fixed. 24 hours. The only possibility was if he kept chopping, but the holy source value of continuously chopping at Long Fei was simply unable to hold up. It would probably take a lot of time to meet another demon beast like this one. Plus, he had to hurry back to the North region tomorrow morning, otherwise Mu Changfeng and the others would definitely be in trouble. At this time, Long Fei checked the god's chop's cooldown. He didn't know when to look, but he was completely stupefied when he saw it. No cooldown? This. The god's chop no longer had a cooldown. It could continue to cut down, and it would not consume many times the amount of EXP. This really was a bit of a freak. Long Fei moved to check the god's chop's current status and stats. God's chop instant killing system currently, he was in a special space and the cooldown time had been eliminated. Leave this space and recover your cooldown time. So that's how it is. Long Fei was a little disappointed. He was still thinking that he could continuously slash God's chop s outside. If that was the case, he wouldn't need to have any more scruples. However, good. The demon beast here had a lot of experience, and if the God's chop could absorb the experience, maybe it could even level up and become stronger in the end. This was true, and there would be no geographical restrictions. Shua. A sky-slashing attack was aimed at Long Fei. His here. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly. He became excited and said, "It's starting." He attacked with his god's chop s boom. The slashing forces collided. Shua. Ding. System notification. God's chop has gained 600 experience points. Heh. Seems like different strengths will result in different experience points. Long Fei muttered and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Hey, stupid dog, is that all you've got? Not enough to see. Woo woo." With an angry low cry, a black shadow flashed out. It reached above Long Fei's head and slashed down heavily. In that instant, Long Fei pulled out his sword, God's Chop. Ding. System notification. God's Chop has received 1000 experience points. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing outsiders. You have obtained 1 million points of experience points, 10,000 points of Holy Source S, and 1 point of striking value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining other races' consciousness. Continue. All of you, come out. I want to fight 100. Long Fei let out a loud roar. Next. One by one, the armored black figures appeared, all of them holding onto silver long blades, staring at Long Fei. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. If I kill 10 of you now, I will break through to the second grade of Limitless. You have at least a few hundred here. I'm rich, I'm really rich. For Long Batian to be able to break through the realm of an ancient almighty in 1.5 months from the god state, I can do the same, and I can be even faster than you. Ha ha ha. Long Fei's heart became restless, and his blood started to boil. His 2 hands holding onto the Dong Huang sword tightly, looking at the god's chop that had not cooled down, he grinned and said, "Let's do it." In that instant, Long Fei entered a crazy, abnormal level mode. God's Chop. God's Chop. Rumble. Ding. System notification. God's Chop has received 1000 experience points. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing outsider. You have received 100,000 experience points, 10,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, you are at the 3rd rank. I leveled up again. It's only been less than 10 minutes. This is great. Long Batian reached the realm of an ancient almighty in half a month's time. If the demon beast here could maintain its experience points, then this daddy could upgrade to the realm of an ancient almighty in a day. Long Batian, watch me break your record. Long Fei clenched both his fists tightly, and slashed out at the incoming Iron Blood Warrior's demon beast, God's Chop. There was no pause at all. Long Fei wanted to break Long Batian's record. Because Long Batian made him very unhappy. He was obviously very powerful, but why did he keep going against him? He had clearly gotten rid of Long Batian, but it was Long Lin again. Without his consent, he forced him to sign the contract. He wanted something from him. What do you want of him? Was he going to die? Do you want the pubes? Or do you want the system? It was all possible. All of these things made Long Fei very unhappy. He did not care what happened to Long Batian in the past, but he was him. He had nothing to do with Long Batian. Then you'll have to bring seed. Long Fei had never been a soft persimmon. Whether it was Emperor Xian or Long Batian, he had never been afraid of them. Kill. Rumble. Rumble. The sword chi clashed, and the God's Chop absorbed another 1,000 experience points. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing outsiders for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, you are at the 4th rank. Another level up. Until now, Long Fei had already leveled up to level 4, and there were still countless Ironblood warrior in the sky, which he could still kill crazily. However, there was one thing that Long Fei was puzzled about. Up till now, the God's Chop had still not leveled up even though it had absorbed all of the experience points. There was no sign of an upgrade. Even without slashing Long Fei, he still paid attention to the strength of God's Chop. There was no improvement at all. The amount of damage he received was 99,989 points, which was the same as the previous attack. In other words, the attacks of the God's Chop did not change. If it also needs experience to level up, then isn't that leveling speed too slow? Or is it that it won't level up at all? The experience points gained is only one of his energies. Long Fei guessed, he really wanted to know the effect of the God's Chop leveling up. What would that be like? But he still wasn't able to level up. Huff. Forget it. If the God's Chop doesn't level up, I can just level up. Continue slashing. Long Fei's eyebrows tightened as he locked onto a demon beast, and it heavily slashed down. Hualala. 99989 again. Sure, God's Chop without cooldown was just like infinite fire, even more abnormal than infinite fire. The skill did not have any cooldown. As long as you are fast enough. His speed is fast. Yes. I can't go on like this, it's too slow to level up like this. With so many demon beast around, if I kill them all at this speed, I would probably reach the Howran realm at most. What I want is the ancient realm. I want to break Long Batian's record. Then. Is it time to use your hand speed? Long Fei smiled. He did not want to miss this opportunity. Thus, in the next second, he held the sword in both hands and made a sword-drawing gesture. His eyebrows sank, his eyes flashed, and his heart quieted down. In that instant, his eyes locked onto a group of demon beast. Huff. He breathed softly. His 2 hands suddenly pulled back. Chop. Shua. 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 His hand speed was so fast that it was almost dazzling. His 2 hands continuously drew his sword, examining it, slashing it, and there was no gap at all. It was extremely fast. Furthermore, every slash contained the strength of a God's Chop. Boom, boom, boom. The sky continuously exploded. Those demon beasts also retaliated, but their energy was completely absorbed by the God's Chop, and they themselves were heavily injured. A fixed damage number floated above his head. Kill. Kill. Hualala. It was incomparably fast, almost perfect. It's not a waste of my 20 years hand speed on Earth. It seems like it's quite useful, ha ha ha. His hand speed rose and his experience points began to rise crazily. The speed at which the experience bar was growing was visible to the naked eye. This speed was perfect. Long Fei became even more excited, and started to attack without caring about anything else. At the same time, all the surrounding demon beast started attacking him. He would be hit from time to time, bleed, and be hit while lying on the ground. However, As long as he didn't die, he didn't care. Because. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. He had the resurrection in situ effect from leveling up. The moment he leveled up, all the pain in his body would be gone. He was simply like a bug. Kill. Boom, whoosh whoosh whoosh. His hands were so fast that it seemed as if his arms had been dislocated. The striking value was already full. However, Long Fei was reluctant to use it. He was afraid that the boss striking value was not full, and that would be a huge loss. Moreover, the longer the striking value overlapped with the items that were dropped, the better. Endure it. Endure it. Long Fei constantly reminded himself that he must definitely endure the enticement and not use his striking value carelessly. Rumble. 2 hours later. Ding. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for leveling up. Wow. This speed. This is so King satisfying. It's even better than drinking it. The Howren realm. I'm just 9 levels away from breaking through to the primordial era. I really hope that there are some demon beast here that can't be killed. However, it was clear that the number of demon beast here was crazily decreasing. Long Fei killed them too quickly. The surrounding demon beast could no longer hold on for much longer, but there were still a lot of them. At this rate, it was possible for him to break through to the ancient realm. An hour passed. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, you are at level 2. 2 hours passed. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, you are at the 3rd rank. 3 hours passed. He leveled up once again. But, although the demon beast's experience did not decrease, his experience began to increase as his level increase. Rumble. Suddenly, the sky was a rift. A golden light scattered down. Long Fei looked up, the golden light piercing him so hard that he couldn't open his eyes. Holy *T. Boss. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.